salary cap world, $93, $95, $97 million, then, okay, you're locked in with your guys and you can spend the money accordingly. So it's probably going to affect the way the Mitch Marner negotiation goes down. And I guess it only means great things for those who are still to be paid in the NHL.
All right, let's go back to our chat right before the break where we brought up Kipper's trade board. Kipper's been writing some spicy articles on sportsnet.ca, just throwing out names of people that could be on the trade board. And so you circled a couple. So let's focus on centerman because I think that clearly that's the need. At least right now, we know John Tavares is out for the next couple weeks possibly. And before John Tavares, it still was an area that I think most people had circled as a place of improvement. So you've named a couple here. Who's top of your list?
I mean, there's several here. I mean, there's a couple that I didn't write down. Elias Pettersson is on the board. Like, there's some big names, not necessarily for the Leafs. This was a league-wide thing. But we know the Leafs are like many teams looking for a center. We know the Leafs are like many teams looking for likely a right-shot defenseman. But there are more centers than there are right-shot defensemen, which may affect what the Maple Leafs are able to do ahead of the deadline. I think the most interesting name is Dylan Cousins. That's Cousins.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Dylan Cousins has 3 more years, I believe, at $7 million. So it's manageable-ish. Dylan Cousins, so John Tavares makes $11 million. It will not be $11 million next year. Likely, the Maple Leafs will find common ground with John Tavares in, unfortunately, a new cap world that may empower John Tavares just a little bit to get a little bit more. But let's say John Tavares goes down to $6 million. Dylan Cousins is $7 million. That means that's $13 million, and you're only paying $2 million more than what one John Tavares has been costing you, while the cap is expected to grow by more than $2 million. So that would just work, I think. And it's a short-term deal. There's only 3 years more. You get your third-line center. You get someone for William Nylander to play with.
He's 23 years old.
You can transition John Tavares potentially to the wing. This is a guy who in a short little time frame would work as someone who's not underpaid, but someone who could definitely exceed that value moving forward. JT Miller's name's out there. Sam Bennett is an unrestricted free agent, so the rentals, I'm not really sure. Nazem Kadri makes too much money for too long,
I know he's a
think.
UFA, but
Scott Laughton's an interesting name. Brock Nelson would be a rental, I believe. Yanni Gourde is maybe too much of what you already have, I think, but I'm not really familiar as much with his game of late, given that Seattle's not exactly the most watchable team in the NHL nowadays. So the name that I have written down, the name that pops the most for me on that list is Dylan Cousins. And we know there's some desperation despite Buffalo playing better hockey.
Yeah, I like it. I like that he's young. He seems to be a good white horse boy. And, JD Bunkus would be fired up to have Dylan Cousins on the squad. And, he's played on a Buffalo Sabres team that hasn't had much success. So it would be great to see what that would mean for him to be on a team that might have a little bit closer to the playoffs. But I've seen his name circled in with some of the Detroit Red Wings as well. I think a lot of teams are looking to kind of pick at the Sabres if they do decide to let their foot off the gas. So there's a couple great names there.
And there's a major issue there with, just other teams being involved.
Yeah.
We know what the Maple Leafs have to offer, and it's not all that impressive. The Easton Cowan conversation obviously got a little bit more interesting after the World Juniors, and maybe you'd be more inclined to move or consider moving that asset. But other than Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton, the Leafs don't really have anything to dangle.
Yeah.
And I still wonder about keeping the powder dry, because maybe in addition to a center, for this team to actually truly win, you need a right shot defenseman as well. But then I can go back and forth on this all day, because I look at the state of the Eastern Conference and I don't know if there's one truly elite team that is unbeatable. So maybe that's another reason to just go to the dance with what you got and see what happens.
And the problem with this, it's going to be fun to watch the Eastern Conference playoff battle, but a lot of teams are going to be in it a little later than they had thought. There won't be as many clear sellers right away where they're like, yep, all right, we're ready. What do you guys want? It might be 3 or 4 teams thinking they have a chance and holding on to their assets or their players or whoever's available, and maybe missing out on the opportunity to start, not even a full rebuild, but maybe sell off a little bit and regroup because it is such a close race. So that's parity in the NHL. There's pros and cons.
Could yield a wacky Stanley Cup finalist this year. Like, you still look at the West and be like, there's some really good teams. Like, it wouldn't be, if Winnipeg won a Stanley Cup, maybe I'd be a bit surprised. But if Colorado got to a cup, no surprise. Vegas, Tampa. Edmonton, no surprise. Tampa in the East? I mean, I think that'd be a little wacky.
Well, you like wacky, so.
But like what I'm saying is the Western Conference has legitimate Stanley Cup contenders, I think.
They got some monsters.
I don't know if there's that team. Florida could be that team if they just have a great deadline.
All right. We're talking Leafs Habs here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. It's a hockey day in Canada. It's going to be a great slate of games. 30 teams in the NHL all in action tonight. All Canadian teams match up against each other. The Sens playing the Bruins, though, because we need an even 8. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right team to involve, right?
Yeah, they
got history with Montreal, got history with Toronto, got history with Ottawa, ish.
That's enough.
Seattle, I don't want to shoehorn Seattle in with Vancouver on hockey day. Bring in the Boston Bruins.
Not a net tonight, which might be good for the Leafs, even though Sam Montembeault did, shut the Leafs out earlier this season. He has been on a tear. 4 wins in 4 starts against Florida, Colorado, Washington, and Dallas. A 0.98 goals against average and a 963 save percentage in a shutout. Like, that's amazing. It's pretty good. We just mentioned how great the Habs had been, and maybe Eric Engels doesn't want me to say that it's a hot streak because it's been longer than that. But for me, 8-1-1.
You took exception with a couple things you said.
Yeah. We'll have to talk after this. Canadians are 8-1-1 in their last 10, including huge road wins over the Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers, Lightning, Golden Knights, Avs, Caps, and the Stars. So we'll see what that means. Are they just out of gas now because they just went through the gauntlet, or is this a team building a lot of confidence from beating some of the league's best?
I definitely think it's that, right? I mean, the Dobish thing was maybe this outstanding variable that gave you something that was slightly hyperbolic or exaggerated in terms of how good the play actually was. But you look at that schedule, you look at the numbers, you look at pretty much everything Montreal's been doing. It's not just been, they had a hot goaltender. I mean, scoring in the top 5 of the NHL since mid-December. And if you do that and all of a sudden you pair that with lights out goaltending, you're just going to win hockey games. There's no doubt about that. I'm actually kind of disappointed that we're not seeing Dobish because that can't last forever, right?
You can't
do that forever. So, at a certain point, that positive or negative regression has to set in, and maybe the Leafs would be able to jump all over them. Or over him just a little bit because I don't think this guy suddenly has redefined the art of goaltending by just showing up. Eventually it's going to run dry, and I guess that's why Engels is steadfast in the belief that Montembeault. I just feud at that. Montembeault is still the number 1 guy in Montreal.
That's good. Yes. Okay. So we got Leafs Habs tonight. It'll be Ryan Reeves back in the lineup, which is changing a winning lineup to put him back in. And Craig Berube said, well, it's a big game in Montreal. It's a big rivalry. They have some physical players over there. We have to be physical tonight. In Luke Fox's article earlier this week, Ryan Reeves wants a fight. He's basically using the media to be like, I'm ready. Luke, write this, put this on the internet. I want to fight. So tonight, is it time?
Maybe. Every time we say that, it clearly hasn't been. But our Bergerac guy is a guy who can definitely go. They have history. I mean, he's the type of guy I think that has enough of an ego that he would hear that and be like, "I'm not fighting okay, you. Ryan." No, I think let's go.
Good.
Let's go. You want it? Let's do it.
I think the fans deserve it. It's Hockey Night in Canada, Hockey Day in Canada. Leafs, Habs, the Bell Center. Ryan Reeves in the lineup. We'll see what that brings. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do the lines and get you set for the first period. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer.
What's up, Leafs fans? How we doing on Hockey Night in Canada? It's always great on Saturday night, my favorite night of the week, and it's never any better than when it's Toronto and Montreal. The Leafs and the Habs. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Please share the link out. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. We've got 2 NFL playoff lives going tonight as well. What a night of sports here on Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you for being here. Now come on, buds. Let's kick the Habs' ass and get to work. We'll see you back in the chat.
Love your Kelly Clarkson Connection channel.
All right, thank you so much for listening.
The mix is eclectic.
I love music, and I just want to celebrate all of it with you.
It's my favorite now.
Is it worth it? Let me work it.
It is perfect.
This is my heartbeat. The Kelly Clarkson Connection, y'all.
I freaking love your channel.
Oh my God.
Channel 12 and on the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA. Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
Now we're talking about 2 of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps and there's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey.
We're about to bring the war right now. Sound the alarm.
on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert getting you set for Leafs Habs Hockey Day in Canmore. It's the 25th anniversary of Hockey Day in Canada. You've seen a great broadcast all day long on Sportsnet from scenic Canmore, Alberta, and we've got a great matchup for you. The 13th meeting between the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens at Hockey Day in Canada, and the Habs have been pretty good. The Leafs have been also really good on Hockey Day in Canada, but Canadiens have the second most wins as a Canadian team on Hockey Day in Canada.
So no one wants me to program Hockey Day in Canada for the next 25 years, 50 years, 75 years. Let's make it 100 Hockey Days in Canada. But if you just do Montreal, Toronto, like you got your 7 o'clock down. That's all you need to deliver if you're producing the big show for Sportsnet. It's the best. Leafs and Habs is the best. Leafs and Habs from Montreal is awesome. And when both teams are good, when both teams are playing well, when both teams have playoff implication, then it's even better. So tonight we have maybe the most meaningful matchup between these two teams since they met inside a quiet bubble in a contained stadium. And it wasn't all that it needed to be, but tonight could be all that and more. Not bigger than. Let's be honest, that's a little hyperbolic. It's not going to be bigger than a playoff game.
It's a big game,
but
still,
it's a
Justin,
big game tonight, and it's a big day, and I'm excited for this one.
Okay, so it's big because the Canadiens have turned the corner of their season. They're not on a hot streak. They're just a good team. How about that? Canadiens tried to get their first 7-game point streak since 2020/2021, where they made the Stanley Cup final. In the last little bit, they have had the best record in the NHL since December 17th, 11-2-1. In the last 6 games, they are 5-0-1, and they have come behind to win in the last 5 games. So they're winning in all different ways, including trailing. In this stretch of 10 games, they had huge road wins over the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Panthers, the Lightning, the Golden Knights, the Avalanche, the Capitals, and the Stars. Those are some of the best teams in the NHL. So they're in a nice groove, and they're looking at the Maple Leafs and thinking, why can't we just be like them? Because the Leafs have had a good stretch, but I would say the Canadiens are the hotter team right now, and they're going to play like it tonight.
Yeah, a couple key checkpoints, if you want to call it, for the Habs so far this year. There was December 4th, the Four Nations face-off. 2 guys notable on the Habs left off in Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. Since then, both have produced at a point per game pace. December 18th, they traded for Alexander Carrier, who has been really, really solid for them and stabilized their back end, basically got rid of a lot of young guys and made it a more professional outfit. So since December 18th, when they got Carrier, they've just been one of the best teams in the NHL. They've been scoring at a top 5 rate. They've been one of the stingiest teams in the league. That has been slightly powered by this unbelievable run from a basically no-name goaltender in Jakub Dobiš, who will not be playing tonight for the Habs. But they have found something here. It may be related to things that have happened in terms of trade and snubs for an international tournament that we will unveil next month on Sportsnet. But they've found something here, and things look a little bit more streamlined than they did previously, and that's put Martin St. Louis and the Habs in a much better position.
You're going to hear the name a lot. Lane Hudson playing pretty well. Second best Calder odds right now in the betting lines. He's leading rookies in points, and all rookies in points with 36, has 10 points in his last 6 games, and the most assists of any NHL defenseman since December 1st. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, Patrick Laine now playing full-time with the Montreal Canadiens. It was too bad he got injured at the beginning of the season, but he's come back. And I'm excited for this Laine-Matthews matchup because they go way back. As we know, they were the first and second picks from the NHL draft in 2016. And Matthews has been looking red hot as of late. So there's a lot of storylines going into this one, and nothing much bigger than the biggest and oldest rivalry in the NHL.
Yeah, it's what we've been waiting for. The Matthews-Laine rivalry to be restarted, reignited with a different setting. And it can't be better than Habs and Leafs for this rivalry. Hopefully these two superstar scorers can give us another chapter in a rivalry that has definitely changed, but can be can be what it was, I think, if Montreal and Toronto can continue to be really good not continue to be good teams, but get to the point where they're fighting for division titles over the next 5 years.
So I think you led perfectly into my players to watch.
I can get to your player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca. Who are those players?
I am giving you
Can I guess?
Yes.
No, go ahead.
It is Matthews and Laine. Okay, I'm feeling just generous because it's hockey day in Canada, and we are finally getting the Matthews-Laine matchup. Draft picks 1 and 2 in the 2016 draft. So here's the deal: Matthews has 27 goals and 45 points in 35 games versus the Habs. So he likes playing this team. So he's minus 105 for a goal, plus 500 for 2 goals. He just had a two-goal game. If you want to go the points rate, 2 points plus 150, 3 points plus 500. Laine has had 10 goals in 13 games versus the Leafs. That's 11 points. And he's plus 230 for a goal, 18-1 for 2 goals. And I just like the idea that these two are going to see each other in the blue and white and the red and white and just say, you know what, like, I'm going to outplay you tonight because this means a little bit to them in their head-to-head versus each other. Matthews has 7 goals. Laine has 10 goals and 2 game winners. So I feel like when you know that person's across the ice from you, you got a little something to prove. They're both going to be my players to watch. And for a bonus, I'm going to give you a motivation station. Pacioretty used to be the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. He's played 10 years for the Habs there, plus 400 for a goal.
And we also like Max Domi celebrating his 700th career game
Former
against
Hab
a
as well.
former team. And he's playing with William Nylander. And of course, they struck as the Maple Leafs got out of a bit of a slump with a big victory over Sheldon Keefe and the New Jersey Devils a couple nights ago. So a lot to look at potentially on old Bet365.
I feel like this is going to be a little high-scoring one. Feeling good about it. I don't know. I want it to be. I don't want a 1-0 game on Hockey Night in Canada. I want what we just saw with the Sens, a 6-5 shootout win.
Tough act to follow.
It will be. So let's get to your key to victory. It's brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Up your game. Lease a CRV from 2.99% up to 36 months. Visit HondaOntario.com.
Well, they also got back, just in addition to maybe some momentum on the season, the Maple Leafs, well, they got their full complement of defenders back, at least with Jake McCabe. Very importantly, getting Jake McCabe back. And when you have Jake McCabe back, you can get back to what you've been doing all year and what's been key to success all year, which is just being stingy once again. The Maple Leafs have sort of let up in that regard of late. So blue line's back intact. Be stingy once again. Montreal's been a top 5 team in scoring since making that Carrier trade. Get them back to what they were. Be responsibly defensively. Lean on those big guys because the Maple Leafs have just not been that team of late. As the same time that Montreal's been top 5 in scoring, the Leafs have been bottom 10 in goals allowed. That's got to change if they're going to win this game.
All right, let's go through some of the lineup decisions tonight from the Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. You want to start with the Leafs?
Yeah, let's do the Leafs lines. You can expect Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner to be on the top line, followed by Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, and William Nylander. The third line will include the former Canadiens captain Max Pacioretty with Pontus Holmberg and Nick Robertson, Steven Lorentz, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves, as we mentioned, inserted into the lineup for this one tonight. Morgan Riley and Philippe Myers, Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev, Oliver Ekman-Larsson playing with Connor Timmins, with Joseph Wall starting in net for the Maple Leafs.
No Simon Benoit. The second time he's been, or second time at least I can remember that he's been scratched in his hometown. So it's a tough bounce for him.
I'd say slightly less controversial, right? Like becoming routine,
it's
right?
not controversial.
It was controversial the first time, though, wasn't it?
This time, but you're putting Connor Timmins in.
Yeah, I mean, I think important part of that is like it's a handedness thing, right? Like you can't. Hey, it's been Montreal, so let's put him on the wrong side of the ice. Like that's not a way to run a hockey team. So I'm glad Craig Berube isn't doing that.
All right, Canadiens.
Okay, Canadiens top line: Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, and Uri Slavkovsky, Alex Newhook, Kirby Dach, and Patrick Laine on the second unit. Anderson, Dvorak, and Gallagher. Pizzetta, Evans, Armia is the fourth line. On the blue line, which again has been sort of transformed of late, a offensive top pair of Lane Hudson and Mike Matheson, a defensive second pair in Caden Gooley and Alexander Carrier, and then Arbor Xhekaj, who like Pizzetta could potentially go with Ryan Reeves, plays with David Savard, who might be trade bait ahead of the deadline. Samuel Montembeault will make the start ahead of Jakub Dobeš.
Okay. Yes, Samuel Montembeault of Team Canada. getting an opportunity to kind of prove that first game of the season, opening night, was no fluke with that 40-something save shutout where the Leafs were shut out for the first time in forever. He's looking to follow that up. I think the season series is 1-1 at this point. I should have looked that up. I feel like the Leafs played the Habs and beat them.
This season, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I want to see a lot more from Morgan Rielly tonight. He's been definitely in the circle of discussion as of late, in and out of that top pairing, in and out of the top power play unit. So I'm circling him as a player with something to prove tonight. How about that? It's not one of our segments, but I'm making one. I
think that's fair. I definitely think that's fair. And it's something that I'm worried is going to get too loud and then become this fulfilling prophecy, a feedback loop. Again, like Nylander, like you can expect these things. Nylander has the issues. Morgan Rielly, not on his game for all 82, but shows up in the playoffs. I hope we can give him that grace, but it could get pretty loud if it gets worse.
All right, it's Leafs Habs, the Bell Center on Hockey Night in Canada. Puck Drop is next with Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray.
Your thoughts on Mike Vrabel becoming the new head coach of the New England Patriots?
Mike's a terrific coach. I thought he did a great job at Tennessee. His teams are always very well prepared. They're tough. They're competitive. They play very good situational football. He does an excellent job of developing players and building the team. Good game plan coach. I love Mike Vrabel.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
We're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy. He's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The Leafs coming off
overtime win against the New Jersey Devils are in Montreal to tangle with the red-hot Bleu Blanc et Rouge at the Bell Center in Montreal. And the caretakers of the corded closets tonight, it will be Joseph Woll, 15-8-0 with a 2.66 goals against average, a .907 save percentage. He's 2-0-0 lifetime against the Habs with a 1.0 goals against average. Sam Montembeault, 16-15-3, 2.88 and a .900 save percentage. Is 3-5-0 lifetime against the Leafs, 3.57. Jakub Dobish is the young man who is creating quite a stir. He's never played a home game yet, but he's 4-0 and a microscopic goals against average of 0.98. Mr. Rupp reminds me of you in the Ontario Hockey League.
Is that his first period stats or first shift stats?
First shift stats. We're underway, and we're glad you're along with us as the Leafs get the puck out into the center ice area and down into the Montreal zone. Leafs moving left to right on your radio dial. Canadians get it out at center ice, but unable to move with it was Armia, and it is back down into the Toronto end under the control of Myers to Riley. Riley's pass deflects to the Montreal blue line. Cut off there by the young Lane Hudson, who has really taken Montreal by storm and might as well say the National Hockey League by storm as well. Oh, Pacioretty must be on the ice.
Or Max Domi, too.
One of them,
Both of them are getting it.
Shot down into the zone, and now it comes back out at center. Cleared in over the line. Unable to get to it was Domi. Playing in his 700th NHL game. Hudson across the line. Pulls up at the blue line, sends it down along the boards near side. Back for Suzuki, who tried to play it back in the net. Cut off there by McCabe. McCabe got it up on the wing, but it's cut off. Suzuki keeps it in. A shot from a sharp angle by Caulfield was stopped by Joseph Woll. Caulfield keeping the puck in, sending a high drive well wide of the goal. Far side, poked in along the boards then for Tanev. Couldn't find McCabe. Round back of the net. Caulfield coming out. Now shot is gloved by Woll, and he's going to hold on for a face-off coming in the Toronto zone.
So I guess it was Max Domi getting the booze. Now it's Max Pacioretty's turn. As he is going to come out now, ironically, that Pacioretty left the Montreal Canadiens as the team captain and was traded for Nick Suzuki, who has become the new team captain of the Montreal Canadiens. Well, not new, but named after.
Recent.
Yeah.
Yes. Holmberg will take the draw. Robertson is out there with him as well. And the puck is dropped and controlled by the Canadiens. Back along the boards. It comes back to the point and a drive whistled wide of the net by Arbor Jacki. And the Leafs are able to punch it out at center with Holmberg getting it into the neutral zone, but not into the offensive zone. And then it bounces into the Montreal bench and plays whistle dead. When we traveled, this was always one of my favorite weekends because the atmosphere, and if you ever get a chance to go, make sure you do go if you're a Leaf fan because the atmosphere in the Bell Center is always electric.
Yeah, it always felt like a playoff game.
Yep.
And it
didn't matter where the standing.
No, and this might be the best in recent memory, right? Where you've got the Canadiens close to a playoff spot. You've got the Leafs in first place in the division.
The other thing was it is, without question, the best press box viewpoint to watch a game if you're doing a game on the road. It's the best.
The hot dogs aren't bad either.
Shane Show. Shane Show. A little mustard. Everything's good. Played down into the Toronto zone. It comes back to the point. Here's Jacki trying to get it back again. He has it now, trying to send it to the net. Knocked down in front of the goal. Punched ahead, and the Leafs are able to break it out. Holmberg will get to the red line and shoot it in, being dragged to the boards by Patrick Laine, but the Leafs come away with it. Robertson backhanding it in front. Holmberg was drilled from behind and knocked down in front of the Montreal goal, but the Canadiens are able to break it out at center, but can't get into the Toronto zone cleanly, as it is offside at the Toronto line. 17:44 to play in the first period.
Montreal coming in, and this is more than just a good little stretch. This is now 14 games. The Canadiens are 11-2-1. And the start of a stretch this season, play 6 out of 7 at home. Their last 8 on the road, they've gone 7-1 in their last 8 road games.
So they beat all of the teams that were well below them.
Well, they beat Florida, Tampa, Vegas, Colorado, Washington,
teams that
Dallas.
They shouldn't have won, maybe.
And lost
but
to
then,
Chicago.
Of course, they would have won. They
lost to Chicago. Yeah.
And people get upset when the Leafs lose.
And anybody that made money on those 8 games,
yes.
You are the smartest person in the world.
Really smart. But all it does is just shows you it is a really good league. And if you don't play your best, teams are able to, from deep in the standings, make you pay for it. Hudson getting it out at center for Montreal. The Leafs are without a shot on goal. It's 2-0 in that department for Montreal as it's played up on the wing, and Reeves back into the lineup for Toronto. Played it ahead, and it's gloved then by Lorenz down into the zone, and Lorenz gets a big hit in on Mike Matheson, taking him down. Canadians break it back out at center. Matheson in on the right side, going to the net, and a backhand is Matheson, and stopped by Joseph Woll.
I have to look at this again, but Philip Myers is pointing afterwards as somehow the Montreal defense I guess he's saying he was interfered with right at the blue line. So it was towards the official, because that created a huge opening in the middle of the ice.
Which is why Matheson was able to go to the net. Yes, you're right.
And Joseph Woll has stopped all 3 that he has faced so far against the Canadiens.
Canadians win the draw again and get a shot, and that deflects wide. They keep it in along the boards, and the Leafs have started hemmed in here as it's poked out at center ice. Montreal goes back to their blue line. Hudson getting it up on the left wing. Pass over on the far side for Caulfield. He sends it down into the Leaf zone. Tanev takes his man to the boards. Trying to dig it out is Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky taken to the boards. And the goalie chance gets going. And, of course, that is responded. And out comes Mitch Marner. Marner to center. In on the wing for Matthews. Rolls in on goal. And if that's a shot on goal, I should play in the National Hockey League, as it is stopped easily there by Sam Montembeault.
Yeah, that's a good measuring stick.
Thank you.
Well, now you know.
No, I know. And I have often told people that I have my equipment in the car if they ever needed me, but I do want 2 comments.
I played 7 years in the minors, and I always had my equipment in the car, too.
It was a rental, but I had it in the car. It was in the car.
And it was always started when the game died.
Leafs win the faceoff. Timmins with a shot blocked in front of the goal. Oh, and McMahon had a great chance to spin and shoot, but he got kind of tangled up and taken down, and he never did get the puck on his stick, but he was right in the slot. Hudson getting it ahead at center. Savard gets it down into the offensive zone. Played around back of the net. A hit there takes down Connor Timmins. Canadians getting in front of the net. The shot on, a big save by Woll off the stick of Jake Evans. Great save by Woll. Played back into the center ice area. Tipped in over the line. Cleared back out at center for Toronto. And the Leafs are kind of playing a little rope-a-dope here, hanging on in their own end, and have really not threatened at all the Canadiens offensively. Played ahead by Hudson. In on the right side, centering pass, and driving the net there was Goalie, but a penalty is coming to Toronto. And after the infraction that wasn't called against Myers, this one is going to be a little tame as well. Hudson playing it in along the boards. Patrick Laine. He has been the offensive hero on the power play, scoring 9 of his 10 goals. Centering pass, they score! Kirby Dach opens the scoring on a delayed penalty call.
And Kirby Dach is red hot. That's 8 now in his last 11 games. It comes on the 5th shot as Dach ends up wide open in the middle of the ice, about 10 feet in front of Joseph Woll.
Really looking forward to seeing the penalty.
And, of course, the penalty would have been on Myers. But nobody takes the middle of the ice. And Kirby Dach one-times it into the empty side blocker side on Joseph Wall to open the scoring for the Montreal Canadiens.
So far, we have not seen a replay of the penalty that was going to send the Leafs to be a man short.
I think it was Myers, and I think it was going to be for a hook. So the Leafs again find themselves giving up the first goal. Montreal 15-5-1 when scoring first this year.
Back-to-back games that they have given up the opening goal. Three of the last four they have done so. And a bouncing puck goes down on Montembeault, who scoops it aside. And now Jacky gets it out and down the ice. And this is going to be off a stick, so there's no icing. And it's cleared around the boards by Wall. And now Tanev plays it back of the net, but too far from McCabe. In along the boards is Josh Anderson. He couldn't come up with it. The Leafs get it out at center. Bouncing puck in on the right side. Holmberg going, or at least Robertson going to the end boards after it. Takes his man down. Jacky against the boards as Pontus Holmberg couldn't poke it free. Knocked high in the air. Knocked down then by the Leafs. Kept alive in the corner. Here's Lorenz back to the point. Leafs with their first offensive zone pressure, if you can call it that it's in the Montreal end anyway, as it's played around back of the net by David Savard. Both teams are changing, and Jacky is behind the Montreal goal, and there are a lot of Leaf fans sitting right in behind goaltender Sam Montembeault. Long shooting goes down into the Toronto end. Pumped along the boards by Myers. Trapped by the Canadiens and played back at the Toronto goal. Myers gets there first. Played it up on the wing to center. And it is the Canadiens who come out with it. Simon Benoit, the Montreal native, a healthy scratch tonight. Connor Dewar and Fraser Minton are also not in the lineup for Toronto. A pass ahead deflects down into Montreal territory. And Montembeault couldn't play it. That allows...
You're not calling that. I thought Bobby McMahon, I thought this was just a stick lift in behind the Montreal net, and they're going to call this a hook. We could be in for a long one, Joey.
Wow.
I thought this was a good play. Was that not stick on stick?
Well, never mind if it was. He didn't do anything. Wow. Well, the Leafs are a man short and trail in the game 1-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
No Shoes Radio is your soundtrack to summer, even in the winter. Kenny Chesney's personal playlist.
It really is the playlist that I have on my boat.
And exclusive behind-the-scenes access to Kenny on tour.
What a great night, Pittsburgh. Great job, guys. I love you.
And in the islands.
I love the sound of this island when it's raining.
Kenny Chesney's No Shoes Radio, Channel 59. And at home with SiriusXM on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Radio Network.
Canadians go to the power play, and they are 16th in the NHL, 28 of 134. But Patrick Laine, as we mentioned, has scored 10 goals thus far, coming back after that knee injury sustained against the Leafs. And 9 of them have been with the man advantage.
Gary?
You think maybe you should keep an eye on him. Leafs send the puck out and down the ice. Docked from Goalie and Laine with 6 attackers on the ice on a delayed penalty call. And here's the first opportunity when the man advantage as Suzuki gets it into the Toronto zone. Played around the boards then by McCabe, but not with enough force to get it out. Canadians keep it in at the far boards. Sent in by Gallagher. Comes back off a stick. Gallagher trying to keep it alive and does. Back to the point. It comes to Hudson. Hudson to the near side to Line. Back for Hudson. Pass intercepted. Pushed out at center ice. And now Tanev works to the line and in. Line chasing him. And he's just going to play it around back of the net gingerly and hope to get to the bench for a change of players. Here's the young Hudson bringing it out and then dropping it back. Brought on by Suzuki, who hits the line. And as he dropped it off on the right wing side, he dropped it back behind the blue line and proceeded to puck in over the blue line. And if you look up in the rule book, that's offside, mister.
There's a rule book?
Well, the one we read is about a page and a half. We don't really care about all of the other stuff.
Well, 1:04 to go here in this Montreal power play. Canadians already up 1-0. Shooting the Leafs 5-2. Chris Tanev, I think, was looking for maybe a 2-on-1 break, but everyone else thought better of it and took the line change.
Matheson drops the puck back. Canadians bringing it out at center with Newhook. He hits the line and gets it in over the line, but a bad pass has come off the near boards and forced them back out into center ice. Matheson moving from right to left, brings it through center and across the line. Played in on the left wing boards. Matheson trying to drop it back. Had it knocked away. Leafs get a hold of it and send it out and down the ice. Maple Leafs are 12th in the league in penalty kill and had been doing quite well until the last two games.
Yeah, 2 for 6. Killed off.
Played down into the corner. Canadians with it again. Get it back along the boards. Doc with it. Plays it along the boards. Double teamed there by Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg battles hard and manages to get the puck out at center ice. He knocked down Doc. And the Canadians fans were hollering for a penalty, but they've already gotten a couple of gifts already. So let's hope that that wallet has been used up just a bit. Penalty expires without damage. Newhook back in his own zone. Playing it off into the corner. Canadians have outshot the Leafs 5-3. Trapped by Domi to keep the puck in. In for Nylander. He couldn't get wide to get a backhand away. And the Canadians have alley-ooped it to the line and in. And it's going to be offside. And will be brought back out into neutral ice with 10:38 to play here in the period. And the Leafs trailing in the game 1-0 on a goal by Kirby Dach.
Hopefully the Leafs can get a little momentum from the penalty kill, because it was probably the least dangerous 2 minutes the Canadians have had so far tonight. I think Babcock's line got to start on time. And yet, the Leafs had those games like against Dallas, against Carolina, where they got the lead early, they started on time, and then fizzled as the game went on. Ironically, the game against the New Jersey Devils, lackluster in the first period, and maybe, Joe, their two best periods back-to-back all season against the Devils.
Yep. Here's Nylander in the near corner with a shot that went wide of the net. Nylander and Matthews are on a bit of a streak. 7 consecutive goals they have been responsible for Toronto. There's a shot that drifts wide of the net. Nylander on the near boards with it on his backhand. Tried to tip it in front of the net for McMahon. That didn't work, and the puck bounces out at center ice. Brought in over the line and along the boards with Anderson, but had it knocked away by Connor Timmins. Timmins against the boards finds Max Domi. Domi with a pass ahead at center, and now McMahon trying to get it over the line. Kicks it free, but couldn't get a shot away. And then when he did, it was a very weak backhand that was easily stopped by Montembeault.
Unfortunately, McMahon, there was a line change, so again, no help.
On the left wing side, brought in and dropped back for Robertson. Little toe drag move, but he couldn't shoot it as it was knocked off his stick. Centered now for Holmberg, a backhand. Not much on it, and Montembeault had no difficulty with that. Canadians are able to punch the puck out at center. Brought on by Alex Newhook, who gets down into the corner against Morgan Rielly. Rielly feeds it around on the boards, and Timmins will get it off of... no, I guess he didn't get it off anybody, because it ends up going the length of the ice, and an icing call coming up here. The first period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
Mike Matheson, a pretty good shoulder check into Bobby McMahon when McMahon had the, what was it, about a 1-on-4 rush What's that? Max Domi threw the puck up ice and then went to the bench.
Iconic jerseys, bleu, blanc, et rouge of the Canadiens. The Leafs in their road white. And was there ever a table hockey game delivered that didn't have these two teams as the players? In across the line. Canadians get it in around back of the Leaf goal to the far side. Myers chipping it along the boards. Poked back into the corner. Tanev got there to tie up his man. Helping out is Matthews. The puck comes free off of Marner. And now Nyes is able to just get it out at center. And Marner trying to reach behind him. Knocked the puck down, but no one could do much with it. Wall playing it off to his defense. Up ahead for Nyes. Nyes lost it. Matthews overskated it. And Kirby Dach couldn't keep it in as it bounced off his stick to center ice. Goalie up on the left wing. Line down the board. Couldn't come up with it. Caulfield taken to the wall. Puck into the corner for Suzuki. Back in front. Line a shot may have grazed the goalpost. Puck comes back to Caulfield. Now to Suzuki. Suzuki looking in front of the net. Couldn't get to it. Leafs are able to punch it back in front of the goal, but it comes free. Another shot. Glove save made by Wall. And he stops play with a brilliant glove save. Off the stick there of Carrier coming in from the right point.
Well, just 6 shots on goal by the Canadiens, but Joseph Wall has made 4 outstanding stops to limit the bleeding to 1-0 Montreal.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
With the confidence and freedom of all-wheel drive, a turbocharged engine, and tons of cargo space, the 2025 Honda CR-V was made for winter adventures. But with heated front seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a cozy interior, you may want to stay in its comforts a little bit longer. Lease the CR-V LX all-wheel drive for $105 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,500 down. OAC conditions apply. Includes $1,500 lease bonus. See HondaOntario.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
He scores! 5-home goal!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Lance Hornby today in the Toronto Sun had a nice article on a real favorite of ours, Ronnie Hurst. Just a few weeks away from his 94th birthday, is the oldest living member of the Leaf alumni. Played sparingly back and forth from the minors, but one of the great characters, and in the alumni luncheons and whatnot, had more jokes than you have. And the thing was, though, that you really need to do kind of, if, they were on a little bit, let's just say, keep your ears closed if you're a female. It was, he is a wonderful individual, just a great human being, and wishing him all of the best. And almost 94 years young. Here the Leafs turning the puck over and a shot. Stop the rebound. Another big save by Wall. My goodness, a bad turnover there. Puck comes back to the point. Canadians keeping it in, and then it's blocked and played out and down into Montreal territory.
Well, that was Max Domi that actually turned and fell. And the puck squirted loose, and Joseph Wall again had to come up with 2 more big stops.
Matheson. A pass ahead that goes astray and goes down for an icing. Interesting stat, and I don't want to jinx him, but I'm going to mention it because it's interesting. While trailing, Joseph Wall's save percentage is .930. So trying to let you get back into the game. Now, it doesn't say that you're trailing by 5 and then he's playing well, but just trailing. When leading, his save percentage is .851, and when tied, it's .849. But, it's kind of an interesting stat, and I guess you can read into it what you want. It doesn't say trailing by 1 goal.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, just trailing. But right here. He is certainly given a chance. Here's another chance for the Leafs, though. And a good save made off of Lorenz on the short side by Montembeault. Long shot deflects wide of the Montreal goal. And it'll bounce out at center ice. Timmins getting it ahead. Reeves launches it into the far corner. Camp won't get there in time. Canadians bank it down to the Toronto line. Now Riley gives the puck away there to Gallagher. Gallagher trying to center. Canadians have got some talent out here against the Leafs' fourth line. Gallagher getting it in front of the net. Camp pokes it to the blue line but doesn't get it out. Here's Anderson. Shot goes wide of the goal. Leafs being hemmed in their own zone here. The puck along the boards is poked out at center, and the Leafs will get a change going. Carrier sending it ahead. Bounces into the Toronto zone. Myers will leave it with defenseman Tanev and goes to the bench himself. Chris Tanev coming out of his own zone. Gets to the red line, banks it into the zone, into the Montreal end with 6 minutes left to play here in the first period. 1-0 Montreal. Canadians back of the net. Goalie getting it ahead, and it'll come to center ice. Tanev regroups the puck there with McCabe. Bank right back down into Montreal territory. Montembeault makes a pass up on the wing. Line A got it ahead at center and across the line. Doc with a wrist shot into the chest of Joseph Woll. He's going to hang on with 5:38 to play in period number 1. Kirby Dach has the only goal on the board. It's 1-0 Montreal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The College Football National Championship is finally here, and Sports Grid Radio and SiriusXM is covering it all from the sports wagering and handicapping perspective. It's 2 historic programs going head-to-head with Notre Dame versus Ohio State. The line opened up with the Buckeyes as a 9.5-point favorite and a total of 46.5. Make sure you tune in to Sports Grid to get all the live odds, props, and movement leading up to the game on Monday. The place to get the winning edge over the sports books is Sports Grid Radio on SiriusXM Channel 159 in your car and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM.
What's up, hockey fans? How we doing tonight? Thank you for hanging out with us once again for another Toronto Maple Leafs game. Please hit that like button down below. This is your nightly reminder. Please hit the like. It helps us bring more hockey fans here to the chat to cheer on our Maple Leafs while we go to get another 2 points. Thank you for being here as well. Another special instruction that I will save for a special guest. Take it away, Joe.
To share the link of this YouTube live stream on social media to help bring more football fans to our amazing community, changing the world one insider at a time. The Commanders had on running the operation. Leafs trail 1-0 with 5:38 left to play in the first period. Draw one by the Canadiens in the Toronto zone. Scooped along the board. Suzuki trying to get it along the line for Slavkovsky. A shot comes in front of the net. Oh, what a save by Waller. Holy Mackinac. He from... How? I don't know if the human body should look like that. How did he do that? Now,
Leafs are taking another penalty here. Matthews came up with a high stick. And Nick Suzuki is laughing, saying, boy, we're going to get... Everything's going to go our way now, except Joseph Woll is, I mean, this could be a blowout easily, if not for the Leaf goaltender. And I don't know how he kicks his right leg out here. Boy, he does the
my groin is very sore just watching that.
He is almost on the seat of his pants, and both legs are flared out in the butterfly.
Unbelievable.
Matthews, a little careless at center, getting his stick up.
Second penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers.
Oh, it's a double minor. Sorry, Joey.
Up your game. Lease the CRV from 2.99% up to 36 months. Visit HondaOntario.com. So it's a double minor to Matthews.
Well, that's what went up in the screen here. But I mean, kind of the irony of this is Nick Suzuki got up with a big smile on his face, but they're saying, well, that's an injury. Now Suzuki have to go off. Are they going to review this to maybe downgrade it? I don't see any cut or anything. Do you?
No, well, he turns around. He's got a little bit of blood in his mouth, I guess. Yep. But I'll tell you, he may have bit his lip in order to provide it.
Now, has he got a chipped tooth? Maybe on top of that?
Don't know. But anyway, Matthews is in the box for 4 minutes. So the first period, the bathtub has been flowing one way, and Craig Berube is upset, but to no avail as the Leafs win the draw. They get it ahead on the wing, and Marner banks it off the boards and down the ice. It'll go.
You wouldn't think the Leafs could play in their own end any more than they have already, though, could you?
5 minutes to go in the period. 1-0 Montreal, and a double minor here with the Canadiens on the power play. Brought through center ice now by Newhook, and get it in over the line for Kirby Dach. Dach plays it back to the blue line. Matheson back for Dach on the near half board. Centering pass comes off on the right wing side, and a shot that was blocked by Wall. Puck comes back in front of the net. Dach to the far side. That bounced on its recipient, but it's cleared in along the boards. Dvorak back to the point. Near side for Dach. Good block in front of the net by Tanev. Dach with it again on the near half boards. Gets it down below. Second unit on here for Montreal. And Marner is able to intercept a pass, and he sends that out and down the ice.
Boy, what a read by Chris Tanev on that block.
You think he's just a big lug that blocks shots. He is very smart at his positioning, how he takes angles away. And the Leafs intercept another pass and send it out and down the ice. He makes great little passes in his own end.
Talking to him, we brought it up, talked to Jeff Reese when the Dallas Stars were in, the goalie coach for Dallas. They had him near the end of the last year, and he just said his hockey IQ was off the charts.
Suzuki in across the line, broken up at the blue line as Caulfield gives the puck away, and the Leafs send it out and down the ice, and the first penalty has 25 seconds left in it. Hudson works out on the left wing, and he drops the puck back. Suzuki will carry to the line and in on the left wing for Patrick Laine. Along the boards for Suzuki. Into the corner it goes for Slafkovsky. Back on the far side to the point once more, and it bounces over Hudson's stick and will carry him all the way down into the Montreal zone. Hudson going up on the left wing. Left-handed shooter. And it is shot out and down the ice on another turnover, and the first penalty is over. Minute 50 to go in the second minor penalty for high sticking to Austin Matthews. So along with the goal that was scored on a delayed penalty, the Canadiens have had the first three. I can only imagine what the rest of the game's going to be like. Along the boards, Nyes ties it up. Ekman Larsson couldn't get to it. Lorenz ties his man up on the far boards. Pass intercepted by Toronto. And Matthew Nyes launches it out and down the ice with a minute 20 to go in the power play. Brought on by Matheson. He'll drop it back. Picking it up is Alex Newhook. Newhook to the line in on the left wing. Doesn't shoot it. Played it into the corner. Dach got it back into the slot area. Matheson at the left point. Gets it into the slot. Dropped off now. Comes back to Matheson. Here comes a shot. That was weak and deflected easily by the Leafs into the corner. Tanev couldn't come up with it. Now he battles in against the boards with Dach. Marner trying to help out, but it comes back to Matheson. Over on the far side, and a one-timer is completely fanned on by Alex Newhook. And Wall says, thank you very much. I'm going to catch this and stop play and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Well, it's Newhook comes in, points in back-to-back games. What I didn't like on this last one, Joe, is how easily the Canadiens have been able to enter the zone. Now, the Leafs, once Montreal has been able to set up, the Leafs have been very good on the penalty kill.
44 seconds left in the penalty. 2 minutes to go in the period as the pass is intercepted, and Morgan, or at least David Camp, almost had his pocket picked from behind and didn't get it down the whole length of the ice. Slafkovsky gets back into the Toronto zone. Drops it off into the corner. Suzuki back to the point. The one-timer scores! Laine! His 10th power play goal of 11 he has scored. And does it look familiar?
Off of the left wing circle, but David Kampf had an opportunity to clear the puck down the ice. Took too much time. Turned the puck over. The Canadiens come back. And Connor Timmins, Joe, sort of gets caught in no man's land. And he sort of comes charging out. And this goes off Timmins and in. It goes off the heel of Connor Timmins and beats Joseph Woll short side. See, that's the downside. You start charging out, and he's in the perfect angle to screen Joseph Woll.
So the Canadiens with a 2-0 lead, and it has been very... Now here's another chance for them. And they score! Josh Anderson on a turnover in the neutral zone. And the Canadiens have opened up a 3-0 lead.
And the Leafs simply in self-destruct mode now. Joseph Woll held them in as long as he could. And this right off the face-off.
9 seconds.
Morgan Riley stood up at the blue line, got beat. Went down to the boards. Max Domi on the boards gets beat by Anderson, who simply then, with two guys stuck up high, waltzes in off the right wing side and makes a little forehand backhand move to shovel it blocker side on Woll, far side. And Montreal is built. I mean, this is the lead they probably deserve, isn't it?
I would say so, yeah. The way the first period has gone, absolutely. The Leafs have not had a scoring chance.
No. For Samuel Montembeault, 47 save shutout in the season opener between these two teams. You could have Ricardo Montalban in goal tonight and you'd still have it.
Really liked him. He was great on the island. Here's a shot from an angle that goes off the shoulder of Montembeault in back of the net. A hit there by Pacioretty, but the Canadiens are out into neutral ice. Carrier in on the right side looking for a return pass as he went to the front of the net and didn't come. And then a hit there by Robertson is able to free the puck up, and the Leafs get it out at center ice. Under a minute to play in the period. And it has been disastrous in the last couple of minutes. The Leafs look very confident in killing off most of the double minor to Matthews. But then the power play goal by Laine, and 9 seconds later, instead of 2-0, it's 3. And it has not been a good period. Leafs with it in their own zone, got it ahead, and play it back to regroup it. Timmins' pass goes off a stick and down into Montreal territory. Lorenz into the forecheck against Savard. Reeves is able to play it around back of the net, but couldn't get to it. And now the puck along the boards, and now Reeves going to the front of the net. A shot taken there was blocked. A rebound back of the goal for David Kampf. He's taken off the puck by Slavkovsky. Reeves gets in on a forecheck to get a hit in, and a long shot went wide. Kept in at the point, and a wrist shot is stopped as the period ends.
Well, the linesmen have to get in. You don't want
Jackeye and Reeves shoving one another. Reeves has not had a fight this season.
Well, his first fight as a Leaf was last season against Montreal and Arbor Jackeye. And I don't know what Jackeye now is. It looks like Reeves is trying to fight. Jackeye's pointing to the clock and saying, get away from me. Then the linesmen come in, and now Jackeye's upset, and he wants a piece of Ryan Reeves. And that comes after cross-checking Reeves right in front of the Leaf net, or the Montreal net, which, by the way, you could have called.
Yep. Well, the first period is not one to remember for the Maple Leafs. Doc, Laine, and Anderson scoring the goals. 3-0 Canadiens. We'll step aside and have Eilish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert join you for our first period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
For the latest updates on the historic Los Angeles wildfires, tune to alerts from the Weather Channel, what to expect, and who may be impacted.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. When severe weather is impacting any part of the country, alerts from the Weather Channel for live simulcast of the Weather Channel for the latest information to keep you safe and informed.
For continuous coverage of the historic Los Angeles fires, tune to alerts from the Weather Channel on the SiriusXM app. Just search weather.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA. Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
We're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche general manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy, he's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite SiriusXM FC shows on the all-new SiriusXM app, now available for all subscribers.
Radio Network.
So the Canadiens with a 2-0 lead, and it has been very... Now here's another chance for them. And they score! Josh Anderson on a turnover in the neutral zone. And the Canadiens have opened up a 3-0 lead.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar, Justin Cuthbert, woof. 3-0 for the Montreal Canadiens. Was that the worst period of the Maple Leafs season?
God, it's right up there.
Wow.
It's definitely up there. And not because it's 3-0 for the Montreal Canadiens on a Saturday night, hockey day in Canada.
Well, those things you can
all
add
those things, but just like a complete beatdown. Nothing, a 0 offensively. Could have been more than 3. Should have been more than 3. Like Joseph Wall was the best player in the period for the Maple Leafs. And he gave up 3 goals. On track to give up 9. On track to have his stats. Take another pretty sizable hit. And it's been a kind of regrettable run over the last little while. Just a brutal, brutal period. And it's disappointing.
It's
you got
disappointing.
a great effort the other night.
That's it.
And it's immediately back to reverting to just not ready to go. The other team clearly hungrier. The other team clearly more into the moment, more into the night's festivities. Like, you just could not even come close to matching Montreal's energy level, and that's why you're down 3-0.
That's the first thing I thought of was like, come on. You know, like this game, we just spent an hour teeing it up. There's every reason to show up on time. It is, as you mentioned, Hockey Night in Canada. It's your longest, the biggest rivalry in the NHL, oldest rivalry in the NHL. You're on an away trip in a barn where your fans travel, and it's probably pretty rowdy in there. The Canadiens are making a really solid push to be in the playoffs, and they're nipping at the heels of a couple other wildcard teams, and they have all the momentum. But you're the better team. Like, you know, you are the better team. And so you just need to show up and play your game. And to not even show up in the first period and to have a 3-0 deficit, which, as you mentioned, it could have been more. So we write notes during the period, just like a couple of talking points. And I wrote, maybe I cursed this. It was 0-0. And I wrote, while keeping them in, it could be 4-0. And then they scored 3 goals. So I don't know if it was my fault.
It could have been 4-0.
It could have been 4-0 at that point. And then it ends up being 3-0 in the period. And that was before they had even scored any. But yeah, it's a disappointing start. And I don't know. You hope that the Leafs go in there and just flush that period. I felt similarly, not to this degree, but when they were losing against the New Jersey Devils, I was watching it at home and I was like, you know what? This is where you need your big guys to show up. And Matthews gets 2 and Willie gets 2 and the OT winner. And it was like, okay, we're putting the team on our back. And you can't always rely on your core 3 or 4 guys. And there's no Tavares, so I guess we'll go 3 to just have to put the team on your back. But that's exactly what needs to happen now is Matthews, Marner, Nylander, or that top line with Nyes need to go out there and be the best players in the period. Hands down, no question about it. Because Laine shows up, another power play goal. He's looking at the crowd, doing the arms. Like, they're so into it. And the Leafs look like they are just showing up right now.
Yeah, and I do think that's ultimately the fundamental problem with the Maple Leafs. That, like, there's only a couple guys who can get them back into this game. Clearly, this top-heavy roster is going to be looking at Matthews and Marner and Nylander to get them back into this game. But when you do operate that way, a guy like David Kampf, who is out there for one purpose, and that is to, at the very best, break even. Do not let the competition score on you, especially at 5-on-5, but especially when you have a chance to clear the puck when killing a penalty and just lazily getting it, halfway up the ice because you didn't make the right play. Like, that is inexcusable. And I actually thought the Maple Leafs were going to garner some momentum at the end of that period when Austin Matthews took a 4-minute high sticking penalty. And Montreal had its worst 3 minutes of the period until David Kampf couldn't get the puck deep. And immediately, or almost immediately, the Montreal Canadiens scored their second goal of the game. And then right after that, actually immediately after that, they piled it on with their third. I thought they were going to get out of that penalty and that period 1-0. And you could go into the intermission thinking, okay, we're all right here. We're only down 1. We played as bad as we possibly could. And now we have a chance to win this game. Now down 3-0. I don't think they have much of a chance to win this game unless their top guys go absolutely nuclear and guys like David Kampf make 0 mistakes.
It's a bit of a mountain to climb. We'll come back on the other side of the break. I want to talk about Ryan Reeves and Arber Xhekaj kind of discussing fighting at the end of the period, but Reeves looking like he wanted it, and the other side of the fight didn't want it. We'll talk about a bit of a sobering Joseph Woll stat that Armin sent us. Armin's working tonight. He's sending tweets.
Hell yeah, Armin.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll get you the out-of-town scoreboard as well as we get you set for the second period. It's 3-0 Montreal after 20. You listen to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
With the confidence and freedom of all-wheel drive, a turbocharged engine, and tons of cargo space, the 2025 Honda CR-V was made for winter adventures. But with heated front seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a cozy interior, you may want to stay in its comforts a little bit longer. Lease the CRV LX all-wheel drive for $105 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,500 down. OAC conditions apply. Includes $1,500 lease bonus. See HondaOntario.com.
Over to our sideline reporter now with Rick. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Four nations face off for the world to see. This February, international best-on-best hockey is back as NHL stars compete for their country to see which hockey nation will reign.
Star power in abundance.
Canada, Finland, Sweden, USA. Teammates turned rivals, and rivals turned teammates. For country, for glory, four nations.
We are set for puck drop.
The Four Nations face-off begins February 12th on Sportsnet.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
The backhand scores! Steven Lorentz!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's 3-0 lead for the Canadiens after 20 minutes. Joshua Cloak with a great tweet just moments ago. Joseph Woll has now allowed at least 3 goals against in 4 straight games. Those 4 starts have come in the last 10 days. So a little bit of Joseph Woll, even though I thought he was the Maple Leafs best player, as you mentioned. In that period, it's still a 3-0 deficit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a correct stat. I don't think it's been a particularly great run of play for Joseph Woll. Again, as we mentioned, he was the best Leaf in that period. You got to help your goaltenders. Yeah. Even Anthony Stolarz, probably not shutting the door on the Canadiens in that period because they were awesome, and Joseph Woll was pretty awesome too.
Well, let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connectsontario.ca.
It is a busy night in the NHL. We probably should have set aside more time.
Well, let's get
30
going.
Teams playing and have played today.
Canada.
Hockey Day in Canada. Flyers beat the Devils 3-1 earlier today. Senators got a dramatic 6-5 victory over the Bruins in a shootout. Avalanche beat the Stars 6-3. Currently ongoing, late in the third, Panthers have a 2-0 lead over the Ducks. Capitals 1-0 right now over the Penguins. The Flames have a 1-0 lead over the Jets. It's scoreless between the Blue Jackets and Rangers. Sharks and Islanders just getting underway, still scoreless. 2-0 early, Lightning leading the Detroit Red Wings. 5 games have not started yet. Golden Knights and Blackhawks will go at it. Wild and Predators, Blues in Utah, Oilers and Canucks to close out Hockey Day in Canada. And of course, the Kings and Kraken will be the nightcap.
All right, Ryan Reeves was tapping Arbor Jacki at the end of that period, asking for a fight, and he was waved off. So maybe just wasn't the vibe for Arbor Jacki at that point, being up 3-0. Why give the other team momentum? But we mentioned it. Ryan Reeves inserted back in the lineup. He's been clamoring for a fight.
Yeah.
Luke Fox was writing about it, so he wants one. Maybe he'll get one.
I mean, if I'm Montreal Canadiens fan, I absolutely love what Arbor Jacki did. Don't even give Ryan Reeves the opportunity to do anything positive, because if you're this late in the season and you haven't done your number one job, why let him scratch that itch?
It's kind of on him.
The ability to point to the scoreboard if you're Arbor Jacki is a move that just can't be matched, and he definitely came out on top of that little battle. But I wouldn't put it past Jacki for getting the ego or letting the ego get in the way and him actually dropping the mitts. We'll see if that continues in the second period.
All right, 3-0 lead for the Canadiens thanks to goals by Doc, Line and Anderson. And Hudson did get a point, so now he's on a bender, a heater. Bender. In a good way. All right. Let's send it to the second period. Jim Ralph and Joe Bowen will have the call. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
VSiN, the sports betting network, is back on SiriusXM. Go to channel 158 for informed wagering and fantasy advice from familiar voices like Gil Alexander, Paulie Howard, and Mitch Moss. Plus, SiriusXM mainstays Adam Shine, Rich Gannon, and the guru, John Hansen. We're getting you ready for the upcoming games with a finger on the pulse of the latest news and the moving lines and odds. VSiN, the sports betting network, is now on SiriusXM 158 and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Radio Network.
3-0 Montreal after 20 minutes of play at the Bell Center. Doc, Laine, and Anderson scoring. Anderson scoring 9 seconds after the power play goal by Patrick Laine. And the Maple Leafs have a huge hill to climb. And Morgan Rielly is now minus 18. And there's lots of ways to look at plus minus. I understand that. But the bottom line is that is something that has to improve. And they're saying, well, we got to find somebody to play with Morgan because he's more offensive, whatever. But it is a big problem when your second pair is giving up goals, and that's been the situation as the Leafs move from right to left on your radio dial.
Now Jake McKay bout with Morgan Rielly. So
long bouncing puck in on goal is swallowed up there by Montembeault.
Philip Myers was with Rielly to start the game. So Greg Berube's obviously had enough of that combination, and sure tough for Simon Benoit not to be in this game in Montreal as well. But Leafs have to chip away. I mean, they were able to come back 3 times against the New Jersey Devils. Those were 1-goal deficits.
As troubled and as controversial as the career of Patrick Laine has been, in matchups with Austin Matthews, who was taken first and Laine second in the draft that year, he has dominated the scoring.
Well, he had 3 his first game, right? Yeah. Between the two.
Including the winner in overtime, with the Winnipeg Jet fans chanting Laine's better. Well, the Leafs have a hill to climb here, and they could certainly use some production from Austin Matthews as well. A pass comes up on the right side. Leafs get it up on the left wing. Chipped in over the line by Marner. Quickly backhanded back to center ice by Montreal. Canadiens will feed it in, and Gallagher goes roaring in around back of the net after it. Tanev is in pursuit as it comes back to the point. Here's a shot whistled there by Matheson that goes high and wide. Rebound comes back to Matheson again. Can't shoot it at the net. Banks it on the boards to get it into the corner. Leafs are able to pick it off to get it up on the wing, but not out. Matheson keeping it alive. Matheson stick handles right along the blue line, and he stick handled it out over the line to bring a face-off in neutral ice.
The other side of this as well is the Leafs have to get some offensive zone time. If you expect any kind of power plays back the other way, you got to have the puck for the most part, right?
That's usually a good idea.
Having said that, I think a couple of things you don't like. One was the delayed call that led to the first Montreal goal. Philip Myers was taken down at one point.
Domi just got lifted off his skates there with no call. Out, down, in along the boards comes Nylander. He'll get it back to the point. Pass in front of the net is deflected by Domi, and it went wide. Domi back for Nylander. Return to Domi. Domi no option to go to the point. Sends it back behind the net. Here's McMahon getting it to the point. Wrist shot coming. That was knocked away and went wide. Domi back to the point again. Another shot by Timmins. That is knocked down by Montembeault. The Leafs are dead last in the league as far as goals from their defenses. Domi's shot is deflected off a stick and it goes wide. Good pressure here from the Leafs, but it's pushed up on the wing and Laine will get it out at center. Doc to the blue line and into the slot area, and a shot rising by Newhook went over top of the goal. Laine gets it back to the point. A pass in front is knocked away. The Canadiens playing it down into the corner. Round back of the net, Domi intercepts. Tried to flip it into the corner for the defense and does, and it's played out at center ice. Canadiens shooting it right back, but the Leafs at the red line will fire it into Montreal territory. Canadiens play it up on the boards. Out at center ice, knocked by Jake Evans into the Toronto zone. It bounced out in front, and Wall had to be rather cautious with that. And then a big hit sends Reeves to the ice. And that's got the crowd going pretty good. Was it Jack-Eye who hit him?
I couldn't tell.
Neither could I. Reeves with it in his own zone.
Jack-Eye's on the ice with Savard now.
Well, why are they booing Ryan Reeves? Well, they got everybody being booed. Played to center ice for David Camp. He'll backhand around back of the net. Pacioretty into the corner. Knocked it away. Got it again. Reeves is in front of the net as it comes to the blue line. McCabe couldn't send it to the net. When he stick handled with it, it came out over the line and out at center. And a good hit there by Connor Timmins. Caught Pezzetta, the Toronto native, coming across the blue line and knocked him down. Pezzetta trying to return the favor in on Timmins. Played out at center ice. Canadiens unable to press the attack. McCabe comes to the red line and now to the blue line and in. Flips into the right wing corner. Holmberg up against the boards. Took the wrong angle to the puck, but now Pacioretty gets it back to the blue line. Left wing side for Robertson. His wrist shot was wide on the short side. And it caroms out at center ice, and then the Leafs give the puck away. Tanev losing it to Caulfield. Driving and stopped by Wall. He does another one of those marvelous splits to stop Caulfield from tucking it in on the near post.
Two more close calls here in this period. One was that ricochet off the backboards. Wall almost split it in his own net. And then Chris Tanev falls.
Yeah, it was Jack-Eye who got the hit in.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot about Jack-Eye, but doing the cocky thing of pointing to the scoreboard, I mean, I think that's a great move when you're 12 or 13. But don't be pointing, and then once all the linesmen and everybody get in, then you want a piece of it.
Then you want to be the tough guy.
Yeah.
Draw to the left in the Toronto zone. Tanev up on the wing for Marner. Marner skates it through neutral ice, weaves to the right wing side, has a man to drop it to, but then sent a shot that went well wide of the goal. Kept in along the boards. Marner couldn't come up with it. Canadiens get it out at center. 3-0 Montreal, and the Leafs need the next goal. That is an understatement of understatements. Good hit there by Matthews in the far corner, knocked his man down. Morgan Rielly backpedaling in his own territory. Got up on the wing for Marner. Marner crossing the line and in. Rielly going to the front of the net. It goes to Matthews. Then denies. And the shot went off a leg and went wide of the net. Canadiens play it around back of the goal. Caden Goalie got it out at center, and it's brought in on the right side. Suzuki tried to make a move to get around Rielly, and Rielly took him out. And the puck comes up on the near wing, and it is out at center ice. Long pass on the left wing side. Rielly will shoot it in. We have an arm up. We have a high stick. Not sure who it's against, but it looks like it's Montreal.
Well, all we're getting is the replay on
getting the replay
Chris
of
Tannen.
it. Yeah, so I can't tell you who got it. And I can't hear who got the penalty, so we'll wait until we see a picture. There. No, that's the...
Yeah, Leafs power play, though.
Okay, got that information up there, so we're good on that. The Leafs will go to their first power play of the game.
Slavkovsky.
Okay.
Has gone for the Canadiens. And Montreal full marks. Not only for this 3-0 lead, but this record we talked about. 11-2-1. Montreal's missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. That's a franchise high. They have never missed 4 consecutive seasons. They get a win tonight. They pull even with Columbus and Ottawa for 7 and 8.
Okay, there's two names that you also kind of wondered whether they would be. You thought they'd be better, but would they be in the hunt? And they are, especially Columbus. Leafs with the power play and are in desperate need of a goal. Near side, a drive into the glove of Montembeault off the stick of Nylander.
That was to the middle of the net, but Matthew Nyes, who was instrumental in the power play goal that the Leafs scored against the New Jersey Devils, taking the eyes away from Jacob Markstrom. A little off to the side there, and Montembeault was able to see it and snap it up.
Evans and Matthews to face it off. Draw scrum that goes into the corner. Canadiens onto it, but the Leafs come away with it and get it back to the blue line. Marner walks the line and gets it down into the corner. Matthews will send it back. Nylander on the near half boards. Top of the circle now. Holds, brings it back to Marner. Marner's wrist shot is off a stick and harmlessly wide. Nyes into the corner trying to retrieve it. Matthews trying to help out. Comes back to the point, but Marner can't keep it in. And it'll come to center ice. 5 forwards for the Maple Leafs. Is there a team in the NHL other than the Leafs that utilizes 5 forwards? I cannot think of one.
No.
Marner dropping it back. Matthews comes through the neutral zone and in on the left wing for McMahon. McMahon ringing the boards back of the net. Canadiens intercept and an easy clear with no one over on the far point as it's down into the Toronto zone. 58 seconds in the penalty.
2 shot attempts maybe so far. Nyes and then the point shot from Willie Nylander, I think, is all the Leafs have had.
Now they're booing Austin Matthews. All right, Robertson comes to center. In on the right side for Domi. Domi down into the corner, had to go off a skate. Stolen back by Robertson's diligence. Knocked down in front of the net as it comes back to the point was McMahon. It goes to the near side. Chipped along the boards is Matthews. Now Pacioretty trying to hold off at forechecking there as it comes back, and the Canadiens are going to get it out and down the ice. Here's Riley. 16 seconds left in the penalty. Domi hits the line. Left wing side, Pacioretty. Back to Riley. Intercepted but stolen. Robertson in front. A pass into the slot that was out of the reach of Domi. Domi in the far corner now. Looking for Robertson to Pacioretty down low. He couldn't get it in front. Pacioretty is upended back of the net. Robertson trying to dig it out of a maze with the skates. Penalty has expired. Leafs get it back to the blue line. And it'll be Ekman Larsson holding, now sending it wide of the goal, and it is grabbed off easily on the far side by Jake Evans and shot down the ice, and icing will be called against Montreal. Mitch Marner the other night reached the 700-point plateau in 622 games. That's the fastest any Leaf has ever done it. Darryl Sittler did it in 666 games. Matt Sundin 703, and David Keon in 867.
Nice if he could tack on 5 more tonight.
Well,
right?
yeah. But realize the kind of production that he is part of is record-setting for the club, right? Leafs go back into their own zone. 12 and a half minutes to play in the period. Chip down into the Canadian zone. Montembeault plays it aside. Montembeault shut out the Leafs in the opening game of the season in Montreal. The Leafs winning 4-1 at home. They'll play again late in the season in Toronto. Puck along the boards. Canadiens with a long shot. Knocked down by Wall. The puck goes around back of the net. Quickly played back to the blue line. Crawford on the far side, and a wrist shot is going off a stick high and into the screen and out of play off the stick of Patrick Laine. And there'll be a face-off coming in the Toronto zone when we return. 11:56 to play in the second period. Canadiens 3, the Leafs no score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Visit connexontario.ca.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists? The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs trail 3-0 to the Montreal Canadiens. Doc, Line A on the power play. Anderson 9 seconds after the power play goal. And it is 3-0 for the Habs.
They've still, they've been much better here in the second period, if you want to say that, but only 2 shots on goal. 3-2 Montreal with a shot on goal advantage, despite the fact the Leafs have had the only power play of the period. By the way, the last Montreal shutout in Montreal against the Leafs, as you'd guess, Carey Price, is February of 2015. Before Montembeault blanked the Leafs in the opener.
All right. Long shoot in. Montembeault plays it up on the board. Canadians get it out at center. Line A across the line. Stops it up. Finds Doc, but that bounced over his stick. And the Leafs turn it back with Ekman-Larsson getting it ahead. Right wing side, Reeves shoots it in. He and Jackeye go into the corner after one another. That brings about a hit with Savard. Reeves trying to get it freed up, but can't. And it is cleared by Montreal down the ice. And an icing call will come here. Reeves to the bench.
Well, I would suggest, and we talked about this, if the score ever got to 5-0, I don't believe if
an
you're
invitation
Ryan Reeves,
is required.
Yeah, I don't believe you ask. Like we said, Reeves' first fight as a member of the Leafs came very early into his Leaf tenure, and it was against Arbor Jackeye, and it was actually Jackeye picked up the instigator for this. Happened in the first period. Reeves had a big hit. Jackeye went after him. Maybe Reeves should have just pointed to the scoreboard.
Well,
not sure what the delay is here.
They saw the officials were huddling for some reason. The draw will be in the... now it's going to be back at the center ice there. So I guess that was the reason for the discussion. Nylander lost the puck, but it's grabbed off. Domi playing it in. Nylander on the right wing side. Stops up on the far half boards. Shot it into a maze. Then it is McMahon trying to come out of a crowd. Does. Back to Willie. Nylander far half boards. Works back towards the blue line. Still with it. Now singling it back into the corner for Domi. Domi coming back out of the corner. Still with it at the blue line. Set it towards the front of the net. McCabe has pinched in to try and clear it into the corner. He got tripped and then cross-checked into the corner and knocked down. And it's played by Montreal out at center ice, and McCabe is trapped. Brought in over the line now by Hudson. Tried to get it in front of the net for Gallagher, and it went wide. Comes back into the slot, and the shot! Did that go off the crossbar, maybe?
I think it did. Dvorak.
Brought back by Bobby McMahon on the rush, going in and scores! Rocket McMahon in Montreal gets the Leafs on the board after it appeared that the Montreal shot went off the crossbar, and McMahon takes it the length of the ice.
Well, if you're looking for a turning point, we'll circle this one right here. Yeah, Dvorak, Joe, right off the crossbar, but stays in the rink, and the puck goes back the other way, and Bobby McMahon, the left-handed shot, gets roomed on the right wing side. Willie Nylander was going to the net, but wasn't an option as David Savard slid to take away the pass. So McMahon just looks blocker side on Montembeault, and he snaps a 7-game goalless drought to get the Leafs on the board here.
Well, there won't be a shutout.
Yeah, I think we've covered that.
Covered
right?
that, yeah. Yeah, I jinxed Wall with the while trailing shot save percentage, so you did a nice job on Mr. Montembeault. How can we be card-carrying members of this fraternity by being so rotten to them?
Yeah, because we're homers. That trumps all.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. All right. Good thing there aren't any radio and TV critics writing articles anymore.
Yeah,
We'd really be in a lot of trouble.
That.
Long shot swallowed up here by Montembeault.
No, they've all got social media accounts now.
Yes, isn't that the truth? Yeah, 3 of them live on my street. Bobby McMahon gets his 13th goal of the season. And I think it's unassisted. That puck came, I don't know if anybody got it up to him or not. They haven't made the...
Still unassisted for now,
Yeah. We'll wait and see. Here's Oliver Ekman-Larsson off a face-off win. Throws it in back of the net for Nylander. Nylander curls, stops up, works back towards back of the net. Still with it on his stick. Stops again. Now comes out in front, and Matthews couldn't get to it. The big 3 are out there as a forward line. Shot from the blue line went high and wide. Down the boards, Matthews comes away with it. Looks for a man in front. Played it around the boards to the far side. Timmins had pinched to keep it in. Got it back to the point to Marner. Marner holds, lets the shot go wide. Matthews around back of the net. Stops again to elude a forecheck. Got it in front of the shot. Nylander with a big shot, and Montembeault with an equally great save. His best of the game. Canadians back the other way. Shot gloved by Wall will stop play in the Toronto zone off Caulfield.
Little pushback.
So the Maple Leafs are on the board, but they trail by a pair. It's 3-1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's the NFL Playoff Divisional Round on SiriusXM. Tomorrow at 3 Eastern, the Rams visit Saquon Barkley and the Eagles.
He's going to go again. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Then at 6:30 Eastern, Lamar Jackson's Ravens visit Josh Allen and the Bills.
Touchdown, Buffalo.
Find your game at SiriusXM.com/NFL schedule or search for the teams on the SiriusXM app. And after the games, get instant analysis on NFL Radio, Channel 88.
Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
You know, we're talking about 2 of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM Radio Network.
The goal by Bobby McMahon ends a streak of 7 consecutive goals scored by the Leafs by either Matthews or Nylander. Now, others to have done that, Darryl Sittler and Bill Derlago went 8. Busher Jackson and Flash Hollett went 9. And the great Babe Dye and Reg Noble, 12 goals between the two of them.
Flash Hollett was playing hurt.
You don't know that.
Neither do you.
All right, good point by you. You may still have the press clippings. I don't know. Yeah. Played out at center ice off the skate of Robertson. Canadians send it back into the Toronto zone. Laine couldn't get to it. Leafs have it with Jake McCabe. Playing it high through center ice. It'll bounce in over the line. Pacioretty is offside, though, and had to leave the puck and tag up. Canadians bring it back the other way. Kirby Dach down the right wing boards. Sharp angle shot blocked away, but a big rebound in front. Laine doesn't shoot it. When he does, that's knocked down in front of the net. And the Leafs have the puck now, and it is OEL starting out of his own end. Ekman Larsson to center. Weaves in over the line. He's surrounded there by Canadians, but the puck comes free, and now a 2-on-1. Nope, sorry. Even strength situation back there. Good defensive play made there by Domi to fill in for Oliver Ekman Larsson, who had gone into the rush. Now the Canadians trying to center, and it bounces into the goal crease area where it was knocked away by Wall. Domi in the far boards misses a hit. Just did get the puck to the blue line, but not out. Canadians in on the right side. Savard with a shot that went wide. Canadians get it back, but it's intercepted, and here's Bobby McMahon to center. Got it ahead and backhanded in by Nylander. It'll be on goal and smothered by Sam Montembeault. 7:56 to go in the second period. Leafs trail 3-1 and could use a goal before the end of the period to be sure.
You mentioned the head-to-head between Matthews and Patrick Laine, Joe. In their first 3 seasons, both obviously drafted 1-2 in 2016. First 3 years, Matthews had 111 goals in 212 games. Laine had 110 goals in 25 more games played. Since then, Laine's scored 105, including tonight, in 260 games. Matthews 274 in 382 games.
Matthews with a shot that deflected wide. Nyes back of the goal. Centered. Got it to Marner. Marner running out of real estate, but then Nyes got there to play it in deep, but the Canadians get it up on the right side. Here's the chance for Josh Anderson, and a stick save made there by Wall. Puck goes down back of the goal for Gallagher. Gallagher has it taken away, then stole it back, then tried to come out in front. Comes back to the point. Canadians into the slot with a rolling shot off the stick of Carrier, and it went wide. Alexandre Carrier, a Quebec product, and a nice addition to the Montreal defense.
Came over from Nashville for Justin Barron, going back the other way. That was just back in December.
Puck played around back of the net. Goalie got it to the line and out, and the Leafs will get back to recover it. And Jake McCabe turns in his own zone and dishes off for Tanev. Tanev looks ahead, got it into Lorenz, and Lorenz chips into the zone. Lorenz around end boards, got it to the far side. Camp tries to work it in front of the net. Reeves was there, but the puck was deflected, and it comes out at center ice. McCabe will shoot it right back in again. A much better period by the Maple Leafs, who are being outshot 22-15, but have the only goal of the period. Here's Lorenz, stopping up in the corner on the far side. Works to the side of the goal and now behind it. Looks in front. Bank pass to the point. D to D. It comes to Ekman Larsson. Ekman Larsson working it in. A backhand in front, and it's tipped just wide. Canadians ringing in the boards with it. Timmins will trap into the slot area. Ekman Larsson shooting it, and it's high and wide. Boy, when you do get a chance back there, you got to hit the net. And this one is set out and down the ice by the Canadians, and Timmins goes back. Connor Timmins through center and to the line. Banks it off the end boards for Domi, who tried to chip it out in front of the net. McMahon was waiting, but Canadians intercept. McMahon takes his man to the boards. Matheson having difficulties with it. Nylander got it back to the point. Just kept in there by McCabe. Back behind the net. Domi was interfered with, but no call there on the play by David Savard. Centering pass! Shot off the goal post by McMahon. Great centering feed by Domi, and McMahon rang it off the iron. trying to keep it in. It comes out at center ice, and Tanev will hustle back. Deflected off a stick and into the crowd in the center ice area. What a chance that was for Jake McCabe.
And he just jumped down from the left wing point, and Willie Nylander found him going to the net. And we're going to get another look at it here. Perfect pass. Oh, might have got Bonnebeau might have just got a piece of it off the toe.
Left pad. Yep,
and
you're right.
Just grazing the post on the far side.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
With the confidence and freedom of all-wheel drive, a turbocharged engine, and tons of cargo space, the 2025 Honda CR-V was made for winter adventures. But with heated front seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a cozy interior, you may want to stay in its comforts a little bit longer. Lease the CR-V LX all-wheel drive for $105 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,500 down. OAC conditions apply. Includes $1,500 lease bonus. See HondaOntario.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
They score! One-timer! Austin Matthews!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Bobby McMahon has the Leaf goal, but he didn't use his stick. He broke his stick and then grabbed one from Matthew Nyes off the bench just as that puck came out to him. And then he went and scored with it. He may have to check the pattern. Nylander to Riley, who sends it off from the far wing. Played into the corner by Ekman-Larsson. Back of the goal, Matthews trying to find Nylander. They've got the big three out there again on the line as the puck is brought out by the Canadiens. Evans working against Marner and across the line. Got it into the slot, and a shot was high and wide of the Toronto goal. Canadiens against the board, centering again. Another shot stopped by Wall, and he's going to cover up on it as Goalie and Anderson in there shoving a little bit with Matthews and Ekman-Larsson.
Hey, where you give Montreal credit, they're not sitting back. I mean, the Leafs have been better here, more offensive zone time in the second period, but the Canadiens shoot the puck, don't they? They don't try to stick handle around and look for a better angle or a better play. And here maybe a little too much time and space for Goalie, the Montreal defenseman. To look up, Joseph Woll came well out, cut down the angle, and was able to corral the rebound as well.
Face-off coming in the Toronto zone. 4.5 minutes to play in the second period. 3-1 Montreal. Face-off scrummed and then controlled by Tanev. Leaf defenseman got it high to center ice. Brought by McMahon and rolled into the far corner. He goes in there after it. Drags it around back of the net but couldn't find Nyes, who's on a line here with David Camp and Bobby McMahon. And the puck is back into the Montreal zone. But Craig Berube is doing a little mixing and matching on the forward units. Down 3-1. Puck in the Toronto zone. Pushed to the line but not out. Canadiens keep it in along the boards. Send it into the corner. Cut off by Tanev, but he had his stick lifted. And then a sharp angle shot went high and wide of the Leaf goal. Puck into the back of the net. Line unable to get to it. And the Leafs with the puck in their own zone, playing it high into the center ice area, but out of the reach of everyone. And Jackeye is back there to pick it up. Off a stick, and it goes down into the Montreal end. Arbor Jackeye. How you get Jackeye out of XHEKJ is absolutely beyond me. If you spell it backwards, it makes more sense. Here are the Leafs in over the line. Pontus Holmberg hauled down, and He's got a shot away. Montembeault with the save, but a penalty coming here to Montreal with 3:13 to go, and the Leafs a chance to really get back into this game.
Anders Holmberg has been out of the lineup for long stretches. I thought the game against New Jersey, Joe, a couple nights ago, was his best of the year, and Craig Berube puts him back into the lineup tonight, and he does a little dance move. Ron, is that David Savard that took him down?
Oh, I think it was Hudson. Yep, Hudson.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, 48, not 58.
So the Leafs with an opportunity on the power play to draw within one. Face off to the right of Montembeault. Won cleanly by Matthews. Marner works the line, gives to Willie. Nylander closes, down low for Matthews, looking for that top corner again, but it hit a leg. Canadians are able to break it out, and with no defenseman back, you know that they're thinking shorty. A pass in front, knocked down in the Leafs, now turn it back up ice. Long lead pass, brought in now by McMahon, shooting, and that was stopped. McMahon gets the rebound. Works back to the blue line to Nylander. Nylander down the left wing boards, top of the circles. Gives it back to Marner. Marner to Matthews on the far side. Matthews holds. Matthews saucers off to Marner, down low to Willie. Nylander back in the net. Nylander works to the far side, still with it. To Matthews, trying to jam it in on the short side. That was stopped. Matthews battles hard, but the puck is cleared by Montreal down the ice. Marner will start back up ice for Toronto. Minute 7 in the power play. Gains the zone. Marner into the far corner. Now to the half boards and stopping. Looks in front. Pass in front. Big save there off Pacioretty by Montembeault. Leafs keep it alive. Nylander back at the blue line. Now to Marner. He fakes the shot. Holds. Back to Willie. He can't shoot it. Now he gets a chance to let a shot go, but doesn't. Carries down around back of the net. Still with it. Coming out in front with a shot. Stopped off the stick of Matthews. Marner was waving that there was something going on here.
Pacioretty got hit, I think, high, and is just making his way to the Leaf bench.
Was that with the puck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was off the one-timer.
Brought now by Robertson to the line and in. Puck is shot out and down the ice by the Canadiens. Pacioretty has made it to the bench. Kind of strange that there wasn't a whistle, and that's what Marner was waving about, right? Brought in across the line to the right wing side. Final seconds in the power play. They score! Robertson redirects it in on goal with a second left in the power play, and there is 3-2.
Ekman-Larsson walking in from the right wing point, looks up, and Nick Robertson gives him a target. And the low shot towards the Montreal net is deflected past Montembeault. And yeah, that shot, Joe, caught Max Pacioretty earlier in the power play on the side of the face. But with a line change in, Nick Robertson, I mean, this is the big part of this, Joe. He gives Ekman-Larsson the target. You see him position his body towards the net, ready for the redirection.
Robertson's 8th of the year, first by way of the power play. Holmberg will also draw an assist as the second unit ends up getting the Leafs on the board with the man advantage. And so we have a hockey game all of a sudden, and the bathtub is flowing one way at the Bell Center with all of the goals down to our left. Pacioretty still doubled over on the bench.
But on the bench, you gotta love hockey players, don't you? I mean, earlier this year, we see Chris Tanev lose some teeth, spit out his bloodied gum on his way to the dressing room, and
Jake McCabe's teeth inside his...
Yeah, then he's back.
Almost another penalty there as one of the Leafs got tripped. Canadians flipping it in over the line, and it's up on the near wing and pushed out at center ice and grabbed off by Nylander. Less than a minute to go in the period. Do the Leafs have some heroics here late on? Nylander, a shot directed wide of the goal by Montembeault. Played around back of the net for Mike Matheson. Canadians break it out with Suzuki. He'll get it to center. Slavkovsky on the left wing with a shot that was high and wide of the Leaf goal. Matheson at the near point, keeping it alive. Back of the net, Tanev knocks his man to the ice, and now the glove is on top of the puck.
Well, you got to call that.
Slafkovsky's helmet is now off as well, and it's a glove pass regardless.
I mean, you got to call that, right? We've seen that called this year. Covering the puck with your glove.
Yeah.
And they call a glove pass, but it had to be, was it 3 steamboats? No,
You're
before
have
he
to
finally
explain to people what steamboats are. I was from playing outside a lot, doing stuff, you know.
How
like
old
hide
are we?
and seek, you know.
What was the other one? Steamboats?
That's the only one I remember.
It's when you count 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat,
3 steamboats.
Yeah.
Instead of 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Then I'm thinking,
Boy, we had a wonderful childhood, didn't we?
I don't even know the last time I heard that. I don't know why he said it.
Leafs get it up on the left wing, and Nyes plays it off a stick to center, and Matthews trying to get in over the line. 2 well covered. 10 seconds left in the period. But as bad as the first period was for Toronto, the second period has been pretty good. And they have scored twice. And so now the deciding goal is Anderson's that came 9 seconds after Laine made it 2-0 in the first period. But McMahon and Robertson scoring the goals for Toronto, and it is 3-2.
Yeah, Leafs 14 shots on Mondabo in the second period after having just 8 in the opening 20, and of those 8, not many were very dangerous. So the Leafs much better offensively, more offensive zone time. We're lucky to get the power plays in the period. But on the other side of things, Montreal still had their opportunities. And before Bobby McMahon got the Leafs on the board, seconds earlier, a shot off the crossbar that would have put this game away. Leafs took advantage, and we'll see if that is, in fact, going to be the turning point of this game. The Leafs hope so.
Well, a little more positive things to chat about during the second period intermission for Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Just 2 matches remain in the league phase of the UEFA Champions League, and all the drama is on Sirius XM FC.
Antoine Griezmann has done it in the most dramatic style.
Action continues in Madrid, where Atletico look to punch their ticket to the knockout stage with a win over the ever-tough Bayer Leverkusen.
Florian Wirtz has bent home a beauty.
Atletico versus Leverkusen, Tuesday at 3 Eastern on Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche general manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy. He's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
You know, we're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Radio Network.
Strange that there wasn't a whistle, and that's what Marner was waving about, right? Brought in across the line to the right wing side. Final seconds in the power play. They score! Robertson redirects it in on goal with a second left in the power play, and there's 3-2.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. We got a game. It's 3-2 Habs after 40. The Leafs getting 2 goals in that frame to make this one respectable and attainable. Let's go.
Very, very attainable. They win the period comfortably. They get back into this game. It wasn't, though, like this switch that was flipped, though. It seemed like they almost got back into this game out of nowhere. And thankfully,
good fortune.
Thankfully, Matthew Nyes was paying attention on the bench and was able to supply his stick to Bobby McMahon, who lost his, and McMahon scores a goal sort of out of nowhere that gets the Maple Leafs going. A 3-1 goal. I'm searching Bobby Hastings on Twitter because it's always Bobby Hastings that provides the stick, but this time it was a teammate. And Bobby McMahon makes good with that opportunity to get the Leafs going. And they definitely backed that up with some pretty positive play after the Leafs finally got on the board.
Yeah, so Bobby McMahon scoring with Matthew Nyes' stick. Poor Matthew Nyes doesn't get a real assist, but in our hearts, we know he does get one. And then Robertson scores just there at the end of that period there at the very final seconds of a power play. So kind of just with some scraps left, second unit, with a really nice tip. Like he positions himself in a great spot in front of the net, not tied up at all, and kind of deflects one past the goaltender, and it was really nice. You could see the big fist pump, and that keeps it really close. The Leafs can definitely win this game. I don't know what the deservometer would say, but I don't know if it would be tipped in the Maple Leafs' favor after that. But sometimes you got to get a good bounce, and that Bobby McMahon goal kind of started on a good bounce, a post and out. Could have been a very different situation if that went in. So it goes 3-0. Bobby McMahon grabs the puck, skates end to end, gets that stick with Matthew Nyes, is able to put it in the net. And so that little turn of events gave the Maple Leafs the momentum. And then they add another one with Robertson. So good to see a little secondary scoring too. McMahon, Robertson, it's just basically been the Matthews Nylander show for the last couple games. And it's good to see some other guys get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, of course, with the Tavares injury, it shakes up the power play just a little bit. Not too much on the first unit, though, as we're still seeing a lot of forwards out there. And it's Max Pacioretty who gets the opportunity to play with the big guys in a scary moment in that period, getting a deflected Matthews shot up high. It looked like maybe off the ear flap area, but he stayed on the bench and was trying to shake it off. But that came just moments before the Robertson goal cut it to 3-2. But, there's things to nitpick about the period, about the process, I think, and about this game, certainly. But they found a way to fight themselves back into it. And you mentioned the deserved to win-o-meter. Give them credit because they were sorely outplayed in the first period, and everything kind of looks even after 2. Again, it wasn't right away. No switch flipped. It was not like a particularly strong start to the second period, but the Maple Leafs did wake up, and they've played far better or right in this game because of it.
I would say that there's been still a lot of really great opportunities that Joseph Wall have shut down of what the what the Montreal Canadiens are producing. He's probably still been the best player for the Maple Leafs, even though the score is 3-2. He cleaned it up a lot. He was a little bit more steady in that second period, of course, as they pulled two goals for the Leafs to get within one. But it's been really sloppy in the defensive zone, like running past coverages, kind of trying to get pucks out and passing them right to Montreal Canadiens. It feels disorganized in the defensive zone. In the offensive zone, they're doing well at controlling the pucks, kind of staying on the perimeter, but they're getting some shots through. And of course, they got 2 goals. But I think they've just got to clear up that D zone because it does feel like it's like a chicken with its head cut off, running around at times. And then the Montreal Canadiens get a line change. They get that more possession. They get more opportunities. They kind of trap the Maple Leafs down there. So I think that's the one thing I would be one of a few things I'd be looking at tidying up because it hasn't felt organized. Not a lot of clear breakouts. It just adds like this like level of like this buzz that the Montreal Canadiens are getting when they're down in the defensive or in the offensive zone on the Maple Leafs. So they got to clean that up. They got to get another goal, tie this up. Maybe we see OT.
It almost feels like Max Domi's most culpable in that regard. It seems. I
was picturing him when I was explaining.
We're not. It's not like a tryout to be the second line center of this team, but it's like still, a year and a half in his tenure with this team. It's still the question of, hey, can you play reliable center ice minutes for this group against at least a reasonable level of competition? And in this game so far, he's seen the most of Jake Evans and Uri Slavkovsky and Yoel Armia and Nick Suzuki. So it's sort of like a grab bag, right? Like Slavkovsky is a top line player. Jake Evans is a 4th line player. So it's not like he's getting this like consistent matchup, but you do find yourself out there for a few minutes against the likes of, Nick Suzuki. And when it's Suzuki versus Domi, right now the shot attempts are 8-1 in favor of Montreal. So if you're going to play center for the Maple Leafs, there's a reasonable level of responsibility you have to take on. But if you're going to play top 6 center for the Maple Leafs, there's like a sizable level of responsibility that you'd have to take on. You are going to have to play against guys like Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. And so far against top competition, it's kind of the sloppy, tilted type of hockey that we expect from a line that's, it's Max Domi and William Nylander. These aren't defensive stalwarts. So again, that's a current problem, not necessarily a long-term problem, but still the question remains with Max Domi. Can he be a center iceman for your team? And again, we can just continue adding data points to that.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll look at that lengthy out-of-town scoreboard and get you set for the third period. It's 3-2 for the Montreal Canadiens after 40 minutes over the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
4 nations face off for the world to see. This February, international best-on-best hockey is back as NHL stars compete for their country to see which hockey nation will reign.
Star power in abundance.
Canada, Finland, Sweden, USA. Teammates turned rivals, and rivals turned teammates. For country, for glory, 4 nations.
We are set for puck drop.
The 4 Nations Face-Off begins February 12th on Sportsnet.
With the confidence and freedom of all-wheel drive, a turbocharged engine, and tons of...
What's up, Leafs fans? How we doing tonight? Hockey night in Canada, Saturday night. There's nothing better than Toronto versus Montreal on a Saturday night. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us, chatting it up, cheering our Leafs on every single game. Please hit that like button down below as well. Please share this link out and let's bring more hockey fans. Let's find more Toronto Maple Leafs fans for this awesome, amazing community. Thanks to you. Yeah, you. Really appreciate it, Leafs fans. Now let's get back to the hockey. We got to get 2 points tonight against the Canadiens. Hockey night in Canada. Let's go. Go Leafs, go.
INE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
At last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Over to our sideline reporter now and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Lorenz looking at the empty net as he gets to center. Drained it!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connectsontario.ca.
3 finals and plenty ongoing with 30 teams in action tonight. Earlier today, the Flyers beat the Devils 3-1. The Senators got a big 6-5 victory in a shootout over the Boston Bruins, and the Avalanche doubled up the Stars 6-3. Actually, one more final. Panthers beat the Ducks 3-0. Ongoing now, the Capitals have a 2-0 lead over the Penguins. Flames up 2-1 on the Jets. It's scoreless between the Blue Jackets and Rangers just starting the third period. Lightning have a 5-1 lead over the Red Wings. Still scoreless. Sharks and Islanders second period. The Blackhawks have a 3-1 lead over the Golden Knights just getting underway in the second period. Predators up 2-1 on the Wild. And still to come tonight, the Blues in Utah, Oilers and Canucks, and Kings and Kraken.
Okay, and it's a 3-2 lead for the Canadiens after 40 minutes. Leafs getting 2 goals that period. Thanks Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson to keep this one close. Looks like you just got to get out and try to win this third period, maybe win the game, or let's get a little overtime on Hockey Night in Canada, Hockey Day in Canada. Leafs Habs, I'd be happy with that.
Win a period, get a point. Win the period decisively.
You could win.
Keep the Habs more than 10 points back.
That could be good. All right. We'll take a quick break on the other side. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Are you ready to thrive in 2025? Kickstart your personal upgrade on the SiriusXM app with our collection of top self-improvement podcasts.
The Mel Robbins Podcast.
The Ramsey Show.
Ask Eliza anything.
Soundtracks.
Cheers, insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs game. A big shout out to all of the insiders here in the chat and everybody that's watching here on YouTube with us while we listen to the Leafs game. The best call in the business, Mr. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph. No better call ever, in my opinion. Thank you so much for being here every single night. And you are making a huge difference in our community with SickKids Hospital. The amount of donations that we are seeing in the football frenzy is absolutely insane. Thank you, Leafs fans, and thank you, insiders. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go, Leafs, go!
League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Radio Network.
Leafs trail 3-2 heading to the third period at the Bell Center in Montreal. This is game 3,700 for me. I thought I might have got 2 before they fired me. So we can use a couple of goals to celebrate here. Oh, I can't hear you. Is your mic on? Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
I know you.
I'm more proud that I haven't missed a game in 28 years.
28 years.
And I've been fired twice. Yeah, I mean I have.
No, and to be able to do that and maintain your streak, is pretty impressive.
Getting fired twice is a hell of a streak.
Leafs to the left and the Canadiens to the right as it rolls down on Wall, who pokes it aside. Canadiens get it in the corner. And now along the boards fighting Fort Morgan Riley, but it goes free and Armia gets it back to the point. Shot blocked, and now here's Nylander trying to break through the defense. He's in a goal! Backhand scores! Holy mackerel, what a play by Willie! There was going to be a penalty, but he just blew by the Montreal defenseman to tie the game. And Jacky can take a look at the clock now and point up there if he'd like.
Well, it was Lane Hudson that Nylander out-muscled. And this was after it looked like it was going to be a dangerous shift for the Canadiens. They dump it in, they get it, but Josh Anderson turned the puck over. About 15 feet inside the Leaf blue line. And Nylander took off, got away from Hudson. And the move on Montembeault, he faked to his right and then drew it back on the backhand and slipped it into the empty net to tie it.
Jimmy, by the time he made that deke, Montembeault was out of the picture. I mean, our picture. Yeah. He wasn't anywhere around.
Yeah, and sometimes that's tougher for a goaltender when a guy's partially tied up.
Trying to center, and Matthews gets it back to the point, and a shot was drilled over top of the net. It comes back to the blue line again. McCabe to Marner. Marner's wrist shot is high and wide. The rebound came to the side of the goal. And it is Carrier playing it out and down the ice. And the Leafs have crawled all the way back from a 3-0 deficit to tie this game as Willie Nylander has his 27th of the season. His 8th breakaway goal this year.
Boy, what a power move by Willie Nylander. But boy, and for Montembeault, what I was saying is when a guy's partially tied up coming in, right?
Now Timmins works in with a shot. Montembeault stopped that. There was a rebound, and it's cleared off the boards to center ice.
It's true with a goalie's timing, because you're saying, is he going to fall? Is he going to take a swipe at it? Is he going to lose control of it?
Up on the wing it comes. Unable to get into the zone was Holmberg, and McCabe goes back to retrieve it. Gave it off to Holmberg, who got it up on the wing, and the Maple Leafs Nylander starts out with it again. Willie starting away at center, was caught from behind there by Kobe Dock, and it is played right back down, or Kirby Dock rather, sorry, back down into the Toronto end. Philip Myers starting out, and the Bell Center is in a bit of a state of shock here, but you can hear the Leaf fans. Shot down into the Canadian zone. Played around back of the net. Dock is there to play it up on the wing, and it is out at center ice. Leafs turn back with Domi. Launching it back in. Jacky being pressured here by Robertson. Puck around the boards. Pacioretty got a piece of his man. The puck muscled out by Jacky, and it is Laine working in over the line. A couple of nifty moves. Try to get a shot away, and he was too well covered by Riley. Leafs play it off. A skate, but not out. It comes around on the boards. It'll be trapped at the blue line by Hudson. Hudson, a long shot. That was deflected into the screen. And then Robertson takes down his man. And Pacioretty wearing a face shield after that collision with the puck in the second period. But the Leafs have crawled their way all the way back. Bobby McMahon gets the lone assist on the Nylander goal 27 seconds into the period. Tie it at 3.
Right before the Bobby McMahon goal. It's unassisted because Canadians hit the crossbar. McMahon gets it, goes the other way and scores. That makes it 3-1 instead of what would have been, a 4-0 lead, a little insurmountable at that point.
Well, you just never know in these games between these two teams. Leafs win the face-off. pass up the middle goes astray, and it's going to be an icing call against Toronto.
Well, even the season opener last year, Austin Matthews had the hat trick, but the Leafs were down 2 in the final 3 or 4 minutes of that game, and Matthews scored twice with the goalie pull. So there have been some rather remarkable turnarounds between these two teams. And of course, Montreal will take the coming back from a 3-1 series deficit in the 2021 COVID year.
Wall has won 4 of his last 5 road games. Now into a tie, and the Leafs able to punch it out nicely by Marner, but then he fanned on the pass, but it comes ahead. Here's Nyes cutting in front of the net, and a shot by Matthews. Went off a leg and went wide of the net. Played out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf zone. Riley rides his man off the puck. McCabe gets it ahead for Marner. Marner's pass finds Nyes. He'll get to center and shoot it in. Ridden to the boards, but he hustles into the corner after it against Goalie. Matthews getting it back to the blue line. D-to-D pass comes to Morgan Riley. Traffic in front, but doesn't shoot it. Goes back to McCabe. He gets it in front for Nylander, driving the net. Stopped by Montembeault on the short side. Could have been a penalty there, and there is. Nylander driving to the net. The Canadian defender grabbed onto him, and the Leafs are going to go to the power play now with the game tied.
Christian Dvorak is the Canadian player, but again, Willie Nylander, very similar, Joe, to how he scored the goal. It looked like he was tied up, but still was able to drive it to the net, and Dvorak didn't even really hide this. This was just a full bear hug, trying to keep Nylander from cutting to the front of the net on Montembeault.
So the Leafs to the power play. That evens the actual power plays at 3 apiece. The Canadiens scored their first goal on a delayed penalty call when they got 6 attackers out onto the ice. And they'll win the faceoff and send it out and down the ice. Robertson's goal late in the second period came on the power play with a second left. Marner weaving his way into neutral ice, drops the puck back. Matthews will carry to the line and feed it in on the left wing for Bobby McMahon. Round on the boards, it's going to come to Nyes. Nyes back to the point, just kept in there by Marner. McMahon against the boards trying to come up with it. Marner is able to trap a clearing attempt and keep it in. Now he works to the blue line, but he gave the puck away. And then the Leafs steal it right back. Trying to wait for teammates was Nyes. And a pass gets in over the line. Now here's Bobby McMahon. Dropping for Nyes. Dropping it back for the captain. Matthews off the wing, doesn't shoot it. At the half boards, drops it back to Willie. Nylander to the left wing side. Holding. Nylander back to the point to Marner. Marner to Matthews to Marner to Matthews. Matthews with it on the right wing side. A centering pass. Centered in front of the goal. What a save made by Montembeault. Bobby McMahon is robbed on a rebound chance.
Finally, the Leafs get it to the net. Austin Matthews fires it, and I believe Matthew Nyes tips this. And actually goes off his skate and out to McMahon. I thought he tipped it, and Montembeault stopped the first one and then the rebound.
He was tapping the stick. He wanted that.
Yep. And is Craig Berube staying with the big boys? No, second unit is out.
Minute to go on the power play. Well, why wouldn't they? They scored the goal. Here's Ekman Larsson with a shot, and he scores! A point shot! Deflected. Robertson in front. Did he get his stick on it?
Max Domi wins the draw right back to Ekman Larsson. Max Pacioretty goes to the front of the net, and I think it is Ekman Larsson, Joe. So right after Montembeault makes his best save of the night, the Leafs throw one through a maze. And this very nearly hits Max Pacioretty. It just misses him as he's heading to the net, but sails short side over the glove of Montembeault to give the Leafs an unexpected 4-3 lead here in the third period.
I think it went off the tip of the glove of Montembeault because it started to flutter at that point.
The importance of going to the net, eh?
Oh, boy. 4 unanswered goals by the Maple Leafs. And Caulfield high sticks it into the zone, and there'll be a face-off coming in neutral ice.
And you know what? That's exactly why when goalies make a great save like Montembeault did off McMahon, You don't go to the bench and high-five everyone because 4 seconds later, you're going to have one float past you into the back of the net.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to be a... well, the worst was Patrick Roy.
Against Detroit.
Against Detroit.
Holding his glove
Got
up.
it, that glove, made a great glove save, and oopsies.
Dropped it.
Yeah. Leafs send it down into the Montreal zone. McMahon working on the end boards, and now the Leafs with a 1-goal lead as it comes out in front of the net. And a great chance by Nylander is thwarted by the left pad of Montembeault. Nylander has been the catalyst to get things going. Pass in front, back to Willing. Trying to drive the net. He gets it in front of the goal, and it's knocked away, and the Canadiens launch it high down to the Toronto blue line. McCabe circles to the far side, drops it back for Chris Tanev. Tanev and McCabe will play catch as the Leafs are changing their forward complement, and Tanev has it around to the side of the Leaf goal. 14:26 to go, and the Leafs have scored 4 unanswered goals after spotting the Canadiens a 3 spot. Down into the Montreal corner on the near side, and a penalty coming here is David Camp.
They got his stick held.
And is that going to be Arbor Jackeye?
No, David Savard may have been the one, yeah.
Oh, well, Savard looks like he's the one being questioning the call.
Montreal 58,
and it is Savard.
And it is holding the stick. And Savard's looking up at the board. Now, he already knows whether he did it or not, right?
You would think.
This was right after Willie Nylander had another great opportunity. But looking here, and David Camp, what a sell job, too. He lets go of the stick with one hand, throws his arm up in the air.
Max Domi gets the assist on the Oliver Ekman-Larsson go-ahead power play goal, and the Leafs are back in business here again.
First unit has to click here in the power play.
Draw won by Toronto and maintained and kept in by Marner. Round back of the net for Nyes. Into the corner for McMahon. He got thundered to the ice with a good hit. Marner trying to keep the puck in, but it bursts to center ice. McCabe, and then...
Oh, that was a great sell job back the other way.
Yeah, Nyes was getting back, trying to get back on Jake Evans, and Evans realized, well, he's trying to get back at me, and down he went, and Nyes is going to the penalty box. So the power play is short-lived. Another situation, though, that a defenseman probably isn't there, right?
This is an awful call, too.
Marner, yeah, but Marner pinches where if he was a defenseman, he backs off. And you probably don't have the situation. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, Evans realized that, hey, they're on the power play. If I can sell something here 200 feet from the goal, I will.
And Kemp did the same thing moments earlier. So 4-on-4 for a minute 42, and then an 18-second power play for the Canadiens.
Which would be their 4th of the game. And the penalty kill at that time will be brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealer. Up your game. Lease the CRV from 2.99% up to 36 months. Visit HondaOntario.com. Leafs win the faceoff. Tanev comes out, drops it back. 4-on-4. Marner coming through neutral ice. Hits the line and weaves in. Still with it in front of the goal and got a shot away. And that was stopped by Montembeault as Mitch Marner does a little magic coming through the slot area and beating 4 Canadiens to get the chance.
Well, the Canadiens have given up a lot of time and space in their end since the opening period.
Leafs 4, Canadiens 3. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray.
Your thoughts on Mike Vrabel becoming the new head coach of the New England Patriots?
Mike's a terrific coach. I thought he did a great job at Tennessee. His teams are always very well prepared. They're tough. They're competitive. They play very good situational football. He does an excellent job of developing players and building the team. Good game plan coach. I love Mike Vrabel.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Maple Leafs game. Now's the time in the show to find out where Leafs Nation is gathering from. Here on TSI, listening to the Leafs game, watching on TV, watching wherever you are, watching on YouTube, chatting it up, cheering our boys on. Let's go Maple Leafs. Let's get the win tonight. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for letting us know where you're watching from, whether it's the United States, Canada, or all over the world. It's so much fun hanging out with you guys every single Maple Leafs game. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs 4, the Canadiens 3. 13 and a half minutes to play in the third period.
You think the Leafs would be able to come back without Marner or Matthews finding the score sheet?
At this point, yes. But I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I thought like after the first period, you thought, well, the big boys are going to have to come out burning, but Willie Nylander has been the big boy. He's only got the goal on the night. He also drew a penalty and has looked outstanding out here 4-on-4.
Face off in the Montreal zone. Nylander lost the draw, playing 4-on-4 here. He's out there with Pontus Holmberg, and the Canadiens having difficulties, and Nylander steals Holmberg! Shot it off the shoulder of Montembeault after Willie stole the puck for him. Here's Tanev playing it out into the center ice area now. Nylander lost the puck. Wrist shot high and wide of the Toronto goal. Near side for Goalie. Goalie got it down into the corner. Back it comes to him. Goalie centering pass and unable to redirect that was Suzuki heading to the front of the net. Back at the point now for Matheson. Matheson drops it off. 49 seconds in the 4-on-4. Oh, puck right on the goal line. And Wall made the save somehow. Looked behind him and got some assistance from McCabe and Nylander. Oh, my. Puck in the corner. Game has had a little bit of everything, hasn't it? Oh. Nylander one-hands it out at center, muscles his way to the red line, then plays it back as the Leafs will get a change going.
We could not see how close that got to the goal line, but we could see it disappear through the pads of Joseph Wall and then pop out the other side.
Here's Marner in over the line. 12 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Leafs about to be a man short as it's pushed out into the center ice area. Canadiens can't get in over the line. Good play by Morgan Rielly to get it to Matthews. Matthews to Marner. Canadiens power play with 17 seconds. They score! Matthews a one-timer off a Marner pass. Ryu decided we needed them, and they're there. And the Leafs have a 2-goal lead on a shorty.
That could be, gotta be, Austin Matthews' first shorthanded goal. Not sure if there might have been an empty netter in there, Joe, but again, the Canadiens look like they're close to putting the puck in the net at one end, and the Leafs go back and score at the other. Joseph Wall somehow just clicked his skates together as he was spinning in the crease and kicked it out. And then back come the Leafs. Marner over the line on the left wing side. And then a little soft pass to the high slot to Austin Matthews. Montembeault's going to his left. The puck flies back to his right over his shoulder. And the Leafs lead is 2 with 12:02 to go here in the third period.
Wow, a power play of about 18 seconds, and the Leafs score shorthanded during that time. Launched high down into the Toronto zone. Marner gets it on the boards, has it up against the wall. Puck comes free, and Jake McCabe will get it up on the right side. The penalty is now over. Nyes is back on the ice as Camp gets it a little deeper into Montreal territory. 5 consecutive unanswered goals for the Maple Leafs after a 3-0 start against them. And it's 5-3. Here's a chance in front of another good pad save made off the attempt coming out from behind the goal by Joseph Wall. Canadiens keep it alive. Shooting, and it's high over top and off a stick and up into the screen by Goalie. And a face-off coming in the Toronto end with 11:15 to play in the third period. What a hockey game this has been.
Boy, in Ottawa and Boston had quite the game this afternoon. And the Senators blew a 2-0 lead, trailed 5-3 with about 3 minutes to go in regulation, came back and tied it, won in a shootout. I thought the Matthews goal was higher than it was. It was about 3 feet off the ice, blocker side on Montembeault.
May have just touched the top of his pad, too, didn't it?
Elevated a bit.
And he celebrates like I would celebrate. Willie Nylander just kind of cruises back and points and just, just an interesting individual and an interesting dynamic. But the Leafs have broken it open, and now here's a rush down on the right side. Trying to go to the front of the net was McCabe. Nylander didn't read the play very well there. Now he has it back to the point, and a shot by Tanev went off a stick and went wide. Canadians break it back at center ice. Getting it to the line and in on the left wing, Mike Matheson with a shot that's high over top of the goal. Remember that stat about Joseph Woll playing from behind and his save percentage? Okay, it took 3-0, but that save percentage has been pretty good since then. Leafs out shooting the Canadiens 8-3 here in this period. And the goalie go chance at the Bell Center can be heard as it's brought out by Matheson. He'll play it down into the Toronto end. Morgan Rielly swings it around the boards to the far side, but it won't clear. Back at the point, Goalie. His shot deflected wide of the goal. Wall had to get over and make a couple of saves, and now he's got the oven mitts down on it. A scramble at the side of the goal.
I tell you, 3 goals on 26 shots may not be a great one. Now they've already upped it to 28. That still may not be a great save percentage, but Joseph Woll, to me, Joe, has still been the Leafs' best player in this game. If it wasn't for him in the first period, it would have been 5 or 6-0.
So you mean it'd be tied?
No, they could be down a goal.
Oh, right, 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Nyes muscles it out at center ice for Marner, who chips it down into the offensive zone. And now Marner got away there from Carrier as it comes around on the boards near side for Tanev. Back of the net, Marner couldn't come up with it. Leafs up a pair with 9:49 to play in the third. And an icing call coming here against Montreal. And it'll be brought back into the Canadian zone with 9:47 to go. After Doc, Laine, and Anderson scored in the first period. In the second, McMahon and Robertson. Then in the third, Nylander, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Matthews. 5-3 Toronto.
And with the assist on the Matthews goal, Mitch Marner has moved ahead of Dave Keon for sole possession of 4th in the Maple Leafs all-time assist register.
Dave Keon was judged to have been the greatest Toronto Maple Leaf of all time. Right?
Yep. Anyway, since returning from injury, if you want to go this route, Matthews' goal pace is 73.
Oh. Okay. Well, they're going to need it. They need their big fella scoring, and boy, he has really been doing it. Pass ahead for Caulfield. Canadians to the line, had it knocked away. Domi will play it off on the right side. Here's Robertson in. Kick pass. Robertson couldn't get to it, neither could his winger, and it's brought out at center ice now by Montreal. Doc on the right wing side from an angle. A shot deflects off the stick of the Leaf defenseman, Rielly, and it's up into the screen and out of play. With 9:23 left to play in the third period, the Leafs with a 5-3 lead over the Canadiens. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. the company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs 5, the Canadiens 3 with 9:23 left to play in the third period. 5 unanswered goals after spotting the Habs a 3-0 first period lead has got the Bell's center buzzing.
Matthews, by the way, now 9 goals in his last 12. Familiar pace, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah. What a marvelous talent, and how fortunate they are to have him. Tanev for McCabe on the boards, launched high. 2 Canadians collide with one another, and Marner's away. He'll look for help. Marner's in over the line, trying to find a man going to the net, but it was blocked by the Canadians and now turned over. Leafs getting onside, and it's brought in over the line. Shot into the near corner. Marner unable to knock it down. Canadians get it out. Line A. Playing it in on the left wing and down into the Toronto zone. Doc was taken to the boards and knocked down there by Timmins. Puck poked free. Brought out at center ice by Steven Lorenz. Lorenz will play it down into the zone and go into the corner after it. Lorenz sending it around the boards. Cut off by the Canadians on the far side. And out they come on the left wing. Caulfield got it in across the line. Excuse me, that was Alex Newhook. He couldn't make a play with it, though, and the Leafs have it under control, banking it off the boards and chipping it into the zone by Pontus Holmberg. Canadians regroup it back in their own territory. Shots favoring Toronto now, 30-29. Pushed ahead by Hudson. Through center ice for Matheson. Matheson overskated the puck. Leafs come out with it on the near boards. Brought to center by Bobby McMahon, who triggered this comeback by scoring in the second period. Bouncing puck. Center off on the wing by the Canadians to center. Back to Caulfield trying to drive with a shot. Pad save and a good one made there by Wall. Into the corner, Canadians with it again. Back to the point to Hudson. Hudson waits, sends a shot towards the net, doesn't make it through. Bounces to the side of the goal. Leafs are able to take it to safety, and Marner gets it up on the wing, and the Leafs are going to get it out at center ice. And gingerly, and I mean gingerly, playing it deep into the Canadian zone.
Honor Danny Gallon on a Saturday night in Montreal.
Why wouldn't it be? Wish we were there. Played out at center and down into the Toronto end. Bouncing puck for McKay. Played around the boards for Nyes. He collided but couldn't get the puck out. Bounces in front of the goal. Spinning with it was Gallagher, but he didn't get the shot away. It's cleared back into the corner off the glove of Wall, and now on the left wing side, Nyes will launch it high to get it into neutral ice. Under 7 minutes to play. 5-3 Toronto. Timmins for McCabe. Banked off the boards and down into Montreal territory. Icing going to be the call against the Maple Leafs as it will come back.
Well, for Joseph Wall, 6:49 to go. Tony Esposito's mentality, Joe, and I saw Gary Smith, the big goaltender that played for the Canucks, actually played a bit for the Leafs as well. Said he got it from Tony Esposito. You play in 5-minute segments. So if you're Joseph Wall, following that, you're saying I got a minute 49 to get to the last 5-minute segment.
Yep.
It was always
Shrink
great
the game.
Shrink the game. Yeah. If you didn't get a lot of work, you're always looking at the. You always saw Tony looking at the clock.
Yeah. Which was strange because he couldn't see past center ice.
Pretty good career for someone who couldn't see.
Yeah, you're right about that. You are absolutely right about that.
Started with Montreal as well.
Yes, he did.
First ever game as Leafs.
And was rookie of the year when he went to Chicago.
First ever game was against the Boston Bruins at the Forum. 2-2 tie.
And his brother.
Phil Esposito had both.
No good. Played down into the Toronto zone. Tanev rings the boards to get it to the line, but not out. A deflection goes high into the far corner off a Canadian stick. Suzuki on the far boards tries to center. That's blocked. It goes back into the corner. Played around the boards by Matheson, who's up there. Cade kept it, the point kept in then by Hudson, and the Canadiens with it again. A pass by Slafkovsky went wide. Robertson after it on the far side. Couldn't lift the stick to get it out. Now battles hard to get it to the blue line and battled hard enough to get it out by an inch. It's a game of inches. And if you battle hard for every inch, sometimes good things happen. And that's a great effort there by Nicky Robertson. It is 5-3 Toronto. 5:43 to play third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
What happens in Vegas?
Vegas, y'all ready to turn it up tonight?
Is heard across North America. CMA and ACM Entertainer of the Year, Lainey Wilson. Bringing it on the Strip.
I'm headed straight home.
Captured live exclusively for SiriusXM.
High five generations of blazing trails.
Lainey Wilson.
You ain't on your face.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Wait, where's the webcam button? There it is. Hey, what's up, Leafs fans? Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight here on TSI. We are going after that plaque right there. We're going after 100,000 insiders / subscribers. Thank you so much for being here with us, chatting it up, cheering on our Maple Leafs every single game of the season and the playoffs. Now let's get back to the hockey. Welcome to the new insiders. Cheers. And don't forget, turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live. We go live a lot of other sports as well. We'll see you back in the chat.
Guys have won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM Network.
Maple Leafs have answered the call. Scoring 5 unanswered goals, 3 of them in the third period to erase a 3-0 Montreal lead and lead it 5-3 with 5:43 to play in the third. A pass ahead for Marner to the red line and up high and into the zone it goes. Round back of the net, it'll come back up on the left wing side. The Canadiens get it out, but a bad pass. Bounces to Marner, and he sends it right back in again. And Leafs are in the midst of a change. Camp working the boards. The puck comes back along the boards to the point to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Back in front of the goal. Scores! Steven Lorenz, who blocked the pass, found OEL, who returned the favor. And now it is a 6-3 drubbing.
Smattering of cheers at the Bell Center from Leaf fans in attendance. But, Joe, this is all set up by the forecheck. David Kemp gets it on the forecheck. Mitch Marner follows it up and gives it to Steven Lorenz. Lorenz goes back to the right point to Ekman-Larsson and then heads to the net for the return pass. And some pretty nifty hands by Lorenz. It's the pass in the forehand. Was a little backhand forehand move to flip it over the right pad of Montembeault. And that's 3 times in this period, Joe, that Montembeault has been beat blocker's side and got caught going the wrong way.
Steven Lorenz gets his 5th goal of the season.
Well, he had 1 last year with Florida.
His career high is 10 with the San Jose Sharks. Leafs to center ice. What a turn of events in Montreal. Montembeault makes the save. And a little derisiveness, probably more from the people in blue jerseys than in red and white.
But I mean, it is, when you talk about it being a strange game, Leafs opened the season in Montreal, 47 shots on goal.
Didn't get a goal.
Lose 1-0. Here, 33 shots, 6 find the back of the net.
Same guy.
All 6 in the last 2 periods, 3 stars will be fun tonight.
Well, OEL's got a goal and 2 assists. Just to help you out a little bit there.
Bobby McMahon's 1-1.
Yep. Played in over the line. The Canadiens take it to the far boards. Play it back to the point. Long shot. Stop. Big rebound. Oh, how did Wall stop? And then he stops another one. All right, circle Wall for one of the stars. Thanks very much. You're down to have to pick one guy.
Well, I was going to say he's on my list. The second one may have got the side of the net. But he had to get a piece of the first attempt.
Had to.
Looked like an empty net.
Oh, we're going to get a look at it now. But Joey Wall. Larson E. Whipsnade.
After stopping a shot, it came from the right point.
Elbow.
He kicks out the rebound onto the stick of Nick Suzuki, who's going to one-time it into the empty net. And Wall dives head first across and just gets his stick on it. It might have hit the shaft of his stick.
I thought it was his elbow, be honest with you, the first time I saw it. But wow.
But either way, I mean, this was...
just don't quit. Don't quit on the goal. Don't quit on the chance. Pass in front of the net. Canadiens with a shot. Wall stops that. There's a scramble. He's down, fishing for the puck. It comes free. Another shot. Stopped by Wall. Boy, that looked like a goal line stand the Argos would have been proud of. The Alouettes couldn't get it past that that blue line. And the Maple Leafs are going to get a face-off in their own end with 4:09 to play.
The great things about being involved in this game. You get this game going on. And somebody that would have been very familiar with playing the Montreal Canadiens, Michel Goulet, texting tonight saying, wow, what a game. Well, at first he said, they don't look very good tonight after the first period. Then he said, they're back in it. What a game. They're taking over.
Is he in Montreal?
Colorado, I believe.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, Michel's been out there for a while.
Wall getting a new stick, so maybe that shot off the shaft of the stick may have done some damage. So he is getting a new stick from Bobby Hastings, who, like me, will be cheering madly for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame on Monday night. Canadiens get it back to the point. Off on the wing and a one-timer fanned on by Laine. Puck around back to the net. Centering pass. Stopped again by Wall on the short side. Leafs are able to get it ahead, and they'll get it out with Nyes carrying to center. Backhanding to an empty net. And it's backhanded wide. Nice of them to put the notification up there. Didn't notice that Nyes had the chance to shoot at an empty net. Brought back by the Canadiens. They'll work it through center. Play it off the boards and in on the left wing. Down 3. Leafs trying to fend off 6-on-5. Empty net with 3:31 to play in the third period. What a hockey game this has been. As well as the Leafs played the other night.
Against Jersey?
Yes. Yep. And when you think of how bad it was in the first period. What did you see on the replay? Was it the stick?
I still couldn't tell from the camera angle we saw, but it was
elbow or stick. Yeah, right at the
the shaft of the stick was right below the elbow. So we might both be right.
We might be. Yeah. Well, if it didn't hit the stick, it was going to hit his elbow. So draw to the right in the Leafs zone. Won by Toronto. Ekman Larsson banking it ahead. Leafs play it off the stick and down the ice. It'll go wide to the net. Icing call here against Montreal.
Now 6 goals. That equals a season high on the road for the Leafs. Remember early on they went into Winnipeg and beat the Winnipeg Jets 6-4 thanks to the hat trick of John Tavares, the last one into the empty net. Empty net goals might be the thing that screws up stats more than anything else, right?
I agree.
We talk
Plus,
about teams,
minuses, everything.
Yep,
right?
Team's record in 1-goal games, and you're going, well, it wasn't a 1-goal game.
Long shot. Deflects high and goes into the screen in behind Wall.
And I'll tell you something, though. Montreal Canadiens in the first period came in with all the swagger. We talked about their record coming into this game, 11-2-1 in the previous 14. But yeah, Arbor Jacki pointing at the end of the first period to the scoreboard to Ryan Reeves saying, I'm not going to fight. Look at the score. And that might go down. That's why I know pro sports has become all about getting in the face of the opposition and mocking.
Shot stopped by Wall. Played to the far boards by Lorenz. He's able to get it out over the line. Canadiens have to get onside and have to wait for teammates and now shoot it in.
Yeah, wouldn't you love to see now Arbor-Jack, I now answer to it. You wouldn't fight him when you're up 3-0.
Yep.
And I don't know how often Reeves has not played very much here in the third period, if at all.
Back to the point on the right wing side. A pass down low. Trying to jam it in on the short side. Wall got there again. Got the right pad across. Leafs trying to get it out. Nylander has. It's going wide of the net. Wish they'd moved the camera a little quicker there. I didn't know where the puck was going until they finally zoomed in on it back in behind the Montreal goal.
David Kampf has had a good night as well, Joe. I mean, we talked about that on the Lorenz goal, on the forecheck. He does make the one mistake in the opening period on the penalty kill. Great poke check there.
You have a tough chore tonight picking the 3 stars, Mr. Huff. I'll tell you that.
You know what? When you can pick 5 different guys, it's an easy chore.
A wrist shot from the point, blocked. Leafs backhanding it to the line. Don't get it out. One-timer fanned on by Line. Looks to see if his stick is okay. Now plays it down around the boards to the far side with 2:18 to play in the period. Leafs take down the Canadiens player and get it out, but is there a penalty coming?
Steven Lorenz is kind of shaking his head. He just went to the board stick first. But with 2:14 to go, we're going to watch this again.
2 minutes for tripping.
And Matheson tried to spin away. It was leg on leg. It had nothing to do with the stick.
The penalty kill brought to you by our Ontario Honda dealers. Up your game. Lease the CRV from 2.99% up to 36 months. Visit HondaOntario.com.
Well, when's the last time the Leafs have had 2 shorthanded goals in a game?
Ooh.
Again, we talk about the empty net screwing
up. You're the one who has to look it up.
No, I don't.
Hudson to the far side. Canadiens down into the corner. Working with 6 attackers against 4 defenders. Near side for Line. Back to the point. Down into the corner. Centering pass. Again. That right pad of Walls got out there somehow. Now Marner banking it off the boards towards the empty net. Missed. And it's down into the Canadian zone. Line goes back.
8-ball side pocket.
Yes, it was a try. Minute 29 to go on the power play. Broken up at the blue line. Nyes gets it to center. Now plays it back into the slot. Now wrist shot. Scores! Now you have to look it up.
That was Kemp?
Yes, it was. David Kemp scores into the empty net. Set up nicely by Nyes. And it is a 7-3 shellacking of the Montreal Canadiens.
I'm not sure, but I mean, again, Joseph Woll makes a couple of outstanding stops before the Leafs reward him at the other end. I think, Joe, the last time the Leafs scored 2 shorthanded goals was New Year's Day in Ottawa in 2022.
Well, let's go with that.
Thank you, Armin.
Who in here is going to tell us we're wrong? Oh, Armin looked it up? So it's Armin who's wrong.
Armin.
In case he's right.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Way to go, Armin.
Thanks, Armin.
Yeah.
121 still in the power play for the Canadiens. I don't know if Montembeault is going to stay out of the goal.
I think it's pretty much done. First thing Armin's done tonight.
Oh, no, he sent me a few things.
Oh, did he?
Every game, Armin looks after me. Stop.
All right. Never sends me anything. Unless I forget to read the commercial.
You're always slamming him. That's why. You don't keep petting the dog that's biting you.
No, I suppose. That's a good point. Offside at the Toronto blue line with 1:22 left to go in the... Okay, when's the last time the Leafs scored? Well, no, they're not going to be able to. I don't imagine they'll score a shorthanded goal here because the goaltender's back in the net. But
well, that's... are we on the verge of a goalie controversy in Montreal?
Oh, yeah. Jakub Dobesh, who was 4-0 on the road, part of their big comeback. And it was Montembeault who played tonight. And he has surrendered 7 in a row after the Canadiens led 3-0. Talk about a great come-from-behind victory by the Maple Leafs. Last minute of play in the game. Canadiens get it down into the corner, trying to play it along the boards. Knocked down on the play there was Newhook. Leafs get it to the line, but not out. Matheson down into the corner. Canadiens still on the power play for another half minute. It bounces back to Matheson. Matheson turns, tried to send it in. It was intercepted, and the Leafs hammer it out and down the ice.
The Canadiens, their season high in goals against. They lost at home 8-2 to the Seattle Kraken. And a couple of games before that, lost 7-2 at home to the New York Rangers.
Canadians bring it in over the line and work into the far corner. David Bowen's billets in Montreal or in Sudbury are one celebrating, one not so much. The Hewletts are a divided family. Brought on by Matheson. Final seconds ticking down. It'll be brought in over the line without much more, and a shot goes high over top of Joseph Woll, who wins this game again, not giving up a goal when he was trailing. And yeah, it was 3 goals. Yeah, but they weren't his fault. And boy, he made some absolutely spectacular saves. And so I have primed the 3 stars, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Up your game. Lease the CRV from 2.99% up to 36 months. Visit HondaOntario.com.
Well, you could go any order you want. I'm going to go Bobby McMahon, the 3rd star. Had a goal and an assist in the game, and a huge goal to get the Leafs back into it. Coming off the right wing in the second period to make it 3-1 right after Montreal hit the crossbar. McMahon scores an unassisted goal. I think any time a defenseman has a 3-point night, you've got to make him one of the stars of the game. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson is going to be star number 2. And star number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph Woll, 3 goals against or not. And I know it's, how many games in a row that he's given up 3 goals or more. But he is the difference. And even in the first period, like we said, it could have been 5-6-0 in the opening 20 minutes. And the Leafs would have no chance of coming back whatsoever. And it's one of those, we've always said that if they're going to come back from a multi-goal deficit, goaltender's going to have to be perfect. Turns out he didn't have to be perfect, but he was the last 40.
Well, it was a great comeback. 7 unanswered goals by the Maple Leafs to win this one 7-3. The Leafs' next action is at home on Monday night. Tampa Bay Lightning come calling. 7:30 start. And we'll have that action for you on Monday evening. The Leafs win it 7-3. And Eilish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert got lots to talk about. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
To truly go inside the game of pro football, you need to see things from the player's perspective.
Let's go.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, catch the Player's Point.
Let's go. Let's bring energy.
Join NFL tight end Colin Thompson and Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold as they break down the biggest stories in the NFL.
It's an encouraging way to look at football.
The Player's Point. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 and the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA. Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy. He's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The
big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
It'll be brought in over the line without much more, and a shot goes high over top of Joseph Woll, who wins this game again, not giving up a goal when he was trailing.
Woo! Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. And never in doubt, 7-3 win for the Maple Leafs against the Montreal Canadiens. That was a really, really fun game. What a resilient comeback from that Maple Leafs team. 7 unanswered goals. Woll's best collection of saves in maybe a single game. It was really fun.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of positivity, of course, out of that game.
Yeah, just forget about the first 20.
But it's just like, it's out of nowhere stuff, right? Like, just completely out of nowhere. The 7 unanswered goals, not really expected at all. You don't rely on, if you're a goaltender, having like your own personal highlight reel in a game where you concede 3 goals in a single period. But Joseph Woll did that. It's just the Leafs, man. Right when you think you have them pegged, you don't. It's very Leafy, and yet it's not Leafy at all. Boy, oh boy, what a team. They keep you on your toes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of really strange stuff that happened in that game. And there's that one Twitter account, Unfortunate Hockey, and I thought about them for the last 40 minutes because when Arbor Jackeye points up to the scoreboard at Ryan Reeves and declines to fight, early in the game and less than 20 minutes into the game, and then you think about, the turn of events. Now it's 7-3. I think it's a funny just point on the story that was the Leafs and the Habs tonight. A pretty fun one for sure.
Yeah, I really didn't think Ryan Reeves was going to get the last laugh tonight, but he can probably do some pointing on his way off the ice, and I'm sure he did if given that opportunity.
All right, let's take a final look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
Okay, busy night in the NHL, so let's roll through it. Earlier today, the Philadelphia Flyers got a 3-1 victory over the Devils. The Senators got a big shootout victory over the Boston Bruins in dramatic fashion. Avalanche got a 6-3 win over Dallas. Florida 3-0 over Anaheim. The Rangers beat the Blue Jackets. It's a scoreless shootout, 1-0 the final. Flames behind Dustin Wolf with a 3-1 victory over the Winnipeg Jets. Lightning beat the Red Wings 5-1 in regulation, clearly. Penguins drop a 4-1 decision to the Washington Capitals. Still ongoing in the third period. Islanders 4-1 up on the San Jose Sharks. Predators have the same lead over the Minnesota Wild, end of 2. It's 4-3 Blackhawks over the Golden Knights. Utah has an early 3-1 victory over the St. Louis Blues, and 2 more games tonight that have not started and will momentarily. Oilers and Canucks, Kings and Kraken.
Okay, our next Molson Leafs Hockey broadcast here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan is Wednesday night when the Columbus Blue Jackets come into town. That's a 7:30 puck drop, so we'll be live on our pregame show at 7 o'clock. I'm sure JD Bunkus and Sam McKee will have lots of stuff to break down next on Leafs Talk. So thanks for listening to Molson Leafs Hockey and on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs Talk, JD Bunkus, Sam McKee. I want to start today's show by thanking all my buds who are Habs fans who sent me a ridiculous amount of text messages after the first period. Shout out to you, specifically Sam Clement. Thank you. Leafs come back and dominate after what was one of the worst first periods of the season. Like, you and I were texting back and forth. Yeah.
The worst. Not one. The
worst.
THE. The.
That was a nightmare start for that team.
I want to give a couple shout outs to this guy in my 1001 group chat. I don't even know who it is of the guys. It's a big Habs fan, and he's just blowing the boys up. And then he got a little dark towards the end of the night, turned bad. And I want to give you a shout out for saving me from Old Takes Exposed. So thank you for being my sounding board for a tweet that I was thinking about sending. I still sent one at the end of the end of the first period. Still believe in everything that I said in it. But the one I was going to send was very, very incendiary. And I really appreciate you stepping in there for your boy and helping me. My consigliere tonight. Thank you.
So I gave you that advice to not send after the first because
you wanted to send it.
No, I had also for these games. I used to go all the time to the Bell Center. It's the best place to watch a high leverage hockey game. There's nowhere on earth that I would choose to have watched a Leafs comeback victory like that than at the Bell Center in front of a bunch of Montreal fans who are absolutely giving it to anybody wearing blue and white.
Horned up at the end of the third. Like that washroom in the first intermission for Leaf fans was a nightmare. Like you can't even go in there. You got to pee your pants.
Pee your pants, sit in your seat. Don't get a hot dog. Just wait for the beer vendor to come by you to get your Molson Export. Just sit. Sit in your pee because you could not go around the concourse. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to start with this. Wool kept them in this game. Shockingly, 3 goals against in the first period. Guy was brilliant. I counted, wrote it down. I think six like massive saves in that, again, what was the Leafs' worst first period of the season. And I do think that Toronto kind of dominated, controlled the play. I know he made a bunch of beautiful saves later on in the hockey game, but yeah, like this game could have shockingly been much, 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 much worse if he doesn't play what I thought was brilliantly to start the hockey game.
Yeah, so they end up getting 3 in the first, and I was thinking it could have been 4-0 at one point in this, and it could have been 6 or 7. Yep. Like the Habs, I don't know what the adjustments the Leafs made going into the second or third or what they talked about, but they really limited the speed of the Habs through the second and third, and I don't know if it was necessarily a conscious, maybe the Habs just ran out of steam a little bit. They didn't have as much piss and vinegar in them in the second and third period as they did in the first. But the Habs looked like the 78 Habs in the first period. Like they were flying. The amount of texts I got from people that are just like the Habs look 10 times faster than the Leafs. And it was true. And listen, it was still a high event game. Wall still had to bail them out in multiple spots in second and third. But I mean, that's what the Leafs goalies have been doing all year for them. And the Leafs just found their game. And so they got some goals from the non-stars in McMahon and Nick Robertson that kind of cued the comeback. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets one for them. But yeah, I don't know what I watched in that first period. And it's a classic this team situation where they have their best effort in weeks, maybe a month on Thursday night against the Devils, where Sheldon Keefe comes to town and they play hard, physical, control the play, outshoot an opponent, like pretty much dominate the Devils for long stretches of that game. And then the first period against a historic rival on Hockey Day in Canada at the Bell Center, they just do the thing where they let their foot off the gas, right? They let it off. The PP Whack boys, they go into the first intermission, and I can guarantee you Craig Berube threw some Gatorade around in that locker room, being like, wake up. And they did, to their credit. But God, that first period, you can't excuse that first period, even though they scored 7 unanswered. It's a brutal way to come out.
Montreal was snapping it around. They were playing with pace. You saw the speed of the team. I was like, God, that Caulfield line is so quick.
Yeah.
You really felt like, I did anyways, that the game was over when Josh Anderson, who's a sneaky Leaf killer, scored
He doesn't score. He scores only against the Leafs. He's had 9 goals in the last couple of years, and like 8 of them are
against the Leafs. But it felt like Wool was bailing them out. Then they get that Matthews penalty, right? He takes the 4-minute double minor with the high stick. They kill like 3/4, if not more, of the penalty. Penalty kill looked great. Like they were denying zone entries. You thought, okay, they're kind of finding their footing. And then bang, Line A snaps one, and then Anderson comes down. It's 3-0. And you go, oh, well, yeah, given this team's lack of goal scoring, what you're seeing from them, the effort was horrible. And I swear, dude, part of that motivation might have been Berube, might have been the leadership in the dressing room. So much of it, I got to think, was these guys being like, God, we just got all the fans and media off our backs, and now we're just going to take it back? No, we got to do something. And that takes me to the second period, and that takes me to William Nylander. I thought...
By the way, before we move on from Josh Anderson, in his career, he has 13 goals in 35 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
And his next highest, he's 11 against the Jets, and then after that, it's 9. So he absolutely scores his most against the Leafs. Like, it's not a facade. He absolutely owns the Leafs. Josh Anderson only scores against the Leafs. Anyways, Willie.
He loves it. Well, I just thought that Nylander dominated the second period. Like, he came out with a purpose. And I was texting you even before, like, he scored even before his line gets a goal with McMahon flying down the wing and then just burying one, which is unassisted after what could have been, again, the icer to the game, which is like I think it was a post hits, and then McMahon goes the other way and rips it. But just, this was vintage Nylander night, man, where you felt him just about every shift in the second period. And Leafs got a goal. It's 3-1. It's sitting there throughout the game. And then they get what was a massive power play goal at the end of the period, which felt like that really swung the game for me. Was they get that pass, OEL right on the tape of Robertson. He tips one home. It's 3-2 going to the third. And then just Montreal could never get off the mat. And Toronto kept putting the pressure on. But I just thought, William Nylander, guy said, what's the big deal? And ever since he said it, he's been amazing. So I guess the next time that he says something that drives me absolutely crazy, I'm not going to give the same reaction, because maybe he is fine with this kind of stuff, that he is going to bounce back from it. He is going to give a great performance. But yeah, his board work, the way that he created space for himself and his teammates, it was one of those games where William Nylander just felt like he was way stronger than everybody else on the ice, way quicker, way better with the puck, and nobody could touch him.
Yeah, I completely agree. He just, like, Berube has been answering questions about him for a week, and he's been saying he's got to work. He's got to work. He's got to work. It's got to be the second and third efforts from him. He's got to work to get his offense back. And that's what he did tonight. He was working his you-know-what off. He was working hard. And listen, you got to come on here and give him full credit. And for him to do what he did in the 2 games after saying, what's the big deal on a 3-game losing streak, that's big time. There's no other way to put it. Like, just to go out in the media, say what you say, get eviscerated by everybody, your fans, the media, everyone, and to come out and do that, big time, baby. What can you say? It's just, it's superstar stuff. And he just, scores a big one in this game. Like, he was brilliant tonight. Like, and I wouldn't say he was as great against the Devils. I know he scored 2, but tonight
was one of his best.
Tonight, this was where he looked like he was $11.5 million Willie. Looked like one of the best players in the league tonight, which he's paid like.
Yeah,
and look at this, like this play against Hudson, where Hudson's had a great rookie campaign, one of the favorites for the rookie of the year. Probably, I'm hoping they give it to my boy Macklin Celebrini. I should say your boy. I can't claim him because I was a Connor guy, and now
how dare you?
But although the Sharks are my league pass team. I watch them when they're on the East Coast all the time because I can't stay up to watch their games. But
if Sharks get Kevin McKenna, like, there's chance that, like, I just have to, I'm a 2 teams guy. Like, I'm Big Cat, where I'm like, I switched teams. I was always the Sharks guy. My uncle lived in San Jose.
I actually do have a San Jose Sharks, like, a couple pictures of you with that one starter jacket,
My uncle actually did live in San Jose and have season tickets to the Sharks. I used to go as a kid. I love that.
So there you go. You're good. And you basically got, like, you're Big Cat for the Leafs.
Yeah,
like,
I could be Leafs Big Cat. I could totally do that.
Anyways, I thought that play there where Hudson's having a brilliant rookie year and he's got all the feet in the world. He's got the ability to keep up if we could roll that highlight again, Luke, of Willie breaking in on the breakaway on Hudson. And he's just too big and too strong. Like, this kid, he's a kid and he's got great feet. Like I said, his pace is great and he thinks he's got leverage on him and he just digs in, drops his shoulder, and then just takes a penalty, cuts to the backhand. That's a guy that's one of the best, players in the league on his day versus the kid that's just starting. And Lane Hudson had a tough night. -5 tonight, I think, for him. So tough one for Lane. No, there's maybe an empty netter involved in that, but yeah, buddy, not a great night for the old Hudson tonight.
I love that Nylander ended up scoring on was essentially another breakaway there too. Yeah. A game after Matthews says there's nobody in the league that gets as many breakaways as this guy. But this one wasn't like a cheap one. Like, he created it, right? He's
it was all his feet. Moved his feet.
Turnover, and then he just works his ass off, beats Lane Hudson to the spot, drives the net, and then just beautiful backhand. I love that goal because it's like, obviously Montembeault, boy.
Good read there by Team Canada goaltender Sam Montembeault. Wow, I was really blown away by him tonight. Sure glad we didn't take Logan Thompson, that bum.
I know.
Did we Dave Cameron this team?
Well, no, I mean, there's some signs, but yeah. I would say that this is just like, it's a beautiful goal, but yeah, like,
where are you going?
Like, why are you flying out on that forehand? Like, at least throw the poke check out, like make an effort if you're going to play it that aggressively. That was horrific. Anyways, Nylander was brilliant in this one. I'm going third story of the game. Self-pat on the back for maintaining my OEL stock.
Yeah, they've needed this from him.
Yeah,
and he was good tonight.
2 assists tonight.
How many times has a Leafs defenseman had 3 points in a game this year?
Yeah, honestly, that's got to be something. And his goal comes in the third period. So I don't know if that was the first time this year, but I have been noting it all year long that the Blue Liners don't score in the third period. This one, like, dude, second power play unit. Savard's got to be loving them right now because they've been parading this whole thing out where it's like they've had 23% in the last 10 games. And everybody knows the power play has been stinky poo. But yeah, they juiced those numbers big time tonight with the second unit. This one just is a puck with eyes, but it's the other two plays that he makes. The two passes, the one to Robertson just gives him like an easy tip. And then the one to Lorentz at the end of the game, same thing, just beautiful offense from the point. And kind of felt like you got a pretty good look at the OEL that was promised this year, right? Like a guy that needs to provide offense to justify being a guy that's a top 4 minutes dude for the Maple Leafs. He was that tonight. He was spectacular.
Yeah, I really, really was impressed with him tonight. And you had mentioned it last game that you thought he was pretty good against the Devils too.
I just thought he was trending in the right direction. Like his offense looks like it's been coming around.
So he finished with 22-36 tonight. +4, 2 shots on goal, 1 enters the net. Played really well. Had a few shifts with Riley. They were really kind of changing up the decor because Philip Myers played 8-14 tonight. Tough take for your boy.
Good stock that you bought. You're the kind of guy that buys Huck to a coin. What could go wrong?
I'm ruined. Sammy Paradise over here. I can't get one right.
It's horrific buy, but yeah.
But I thought they were really switching up the pairs tonight, and the Oliver Ekman. Sorry, I was just looking at the ice times here. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, they needed offense from him. I think that's the reason they brought him in here. Well, they needed a guy from the back end that's going to be able to snap it a little bit. And I thought he's kind of gone through a long stretch of not snapping it. But tonight he really was. And I thought he was filtering pucks towards the net. He really does miss the net a lot from the point. He shoots it a lot, but it feels like it bangs off the end glass a lot, or it's missing wide, or it's just getting blocked and stuff. So I feel like his attempts would be pretty high throughout this year, but his actual shots on goal, I don't think they'd be that high. But yeah, I really liked his game tonight. I thought he turned it around in the second and third like everybody did. Shot in the net for a big one on the power play. So yeah, second power play units juicing up the numbers for Savvy and the boys. They're thrilled.
Yeah. It was good, but hey, guess what? They got their opportunities and they buried them. So good for them. And to that point about OEL though, like that's what happens when you stick with your game, right? Is he's had a bunch of opportunities that were like much better looks than that one. Yeah. And Montembeault had made a save like a second before that puck went in. His save of the game.
I'm a man in the slot.
Yeah. And then he just gets one where it's like puck has eyes. It's like stick with it. Keep firing pucks towards the net. Stick with your game. Maintain your confidence. And like, yeah, that's what he's supposed to be. A guy that provides some offense, a guy that provides some snarl, guy that's going to argue every penalty on earth, and who's going to provide some experience to the blue line. I can't believe this is true, but I guess so. But like, that's Austin Matthews' first shorthanded goal of his career.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's not even really, it wasn't even like a real shorty. It was right as the 4-on-4 expires, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
I think Luke had it. I think Fox had it. Hold on. Let me double check this. Yeah. First ever shorthanded goal. Yeah, I did see it. I spent like no time on Twitter. I was flipping between the football game and this game, and not really on my phone too much, but yeah, I just happened to glance at it for the first time when that ended up happening. And yeah, that's his first one. Just like beautiful little 1T, nice setup by Marner, blasted home again, Montembeault, whatever.
Yeah. So
he's got to do the right thing and just be like, yo, my knees.
I can't play. I'm not ready. Like he's like, I'm watching Logan Thompson highlights every night. Like you got to send Logan. Yeah. But yeah, Matthews is big.
Like I.
Yeah, Well, he's great at goalies. He's all over it. So yeah, that Jari contract's great. He's crushing it for Wilkes-Barre, I hear. So anyways, yeah. No, Matthews tonight is just a big time goal. He's scoring all the time again. Looks like himself, pursuing the puck, hitting it hard, shooting it hard. Looks like Austin Matthews. And that's great because they haven't gone a long stretch without John Tavares ever, like in his whole career with the Leafs. What does he miss? 6-7 games total as a Leaf. So this is a big stretch where we weren't sure if he was going to be healthy. We weren't sure if he was going to be in the lineup. And without Tavares, who has been excellent for the Leafs this year, they need his production. They need him to step up. And since Tavares went out, scored two big ones against the Devils, scores again here tonight, was great tonight, buzzing all over the ice. So another good night for Matthews. Nice to see. When we were worried about LTIR for him like 2 weeks ago. So it's really nice to see him actually just look like himself.
Yeah, listen, this is the way of the Leafs, is that anytime you take a definitive take, it's like now they're going to zag completely the opposite way. So that kind of sticks in line. But yeah, loved the way that he reacted after the goal. Mentioned that many times, that is kind of one of the emotional needs of the Leafs, is when Matthews is scoring goals, that he shows that energy. And two is, Myrtle pointed out, he's now on a 73 goal pace from the time that he has returned from the injury. So that's not what's going to be on the end of the season. But it's like, that's a pretty encouraging thing for a guy that, can score 70 in the NHL. All right. Anything else?
And it is really nice that the divisional rivals, Austin Matthews, absolutely owns them. Like completely and utterly owns them. Like it just shoots it in the net every single game against the Habs, shoots in the net every single game against the Sens. Like he owns both those teams. Quickly wanted to bring up Reeves.
I mean, I don't know why they put him in the lineup. He gets absolutely papered in this game.
His best contribution was having Wi-Fi point at the scoreboard for like a meme. And like, it's just Luke Fox sent out the tweet earlier today being like, hey, Rube's like, it's a big, tough game against Montreal, blah, blah, blah. And I responded to him by saying 6 minutes, 24 seconds, -1, no fight. His stat line tonight was no minus, no fight, 638. So
I was going to say, tough to get a minus when you don't play.
Like, I mean, I'm not going to die on the Dewar hill. We are the dudes here. But like, I'm telling you right now, Connor Dewar gives you way more in a hockey game, and especially this game where it's a physical game. He's fought more times than Reeves has this year. He's looked better in every game he's played this year than Reeves has. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, this is it's not doing anything for anyone. And listen, we are both pro the signing. I like the idea. I liked him last year. I defended him last year when he was fighting the big boys and he was playing with edge. But this year, it's indefensible why he's playing now. It's just, it's not, there's no reason for this.
I actually have a bigger gripe. So you and I were like, keep the winning lineup together, obviously. But the bigger gripe for me is,
oh my God.
All right, if you're going to take away Fraser Minton's development time in the Marlies, I really don't want him sitting in the press box for Ryan.
Yes.
Sorry. Like, it's just, like, to me, that makes absolutely no sense. So Dewar, fine. Like, we are the dudes. We like Dewar more than others.
If you watch it on YouTube,
gets
like
crunched.
That's a big hit. Like by Jack Eye, and then Jack Eye's like, "Why would I fight you? We're winning 3-0." Like that's as bad. That's as clowned as you can get.
Yep.
That's as clowned as you can get in a hockey game. Like it's just he's chasing him around, looking for him to fight. And he's like, "Why on earth?" The guy that I'm just as tough as you. I hammered you to the ice, and I'm not going to fight you because we're winning 3-0. Tough look for Reeves, and I'm sure. I don't know. Just like I'm sure they're going to keep playing him here and there, and it's not really the hill to die on, but it's not serving any purpose.
That's it for me. Subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you too, at JD Bunkus, Sam A. McKee. Leave a thumbs up, do those things. And yeah, by the way, just my advice for Leaf fans, if you're in Montreal, you're not listening to this right now, you're having the time of your lives, but the veteran move is to go to the hotel, change, and then go out.
Yeah, you like that move, eh? Hey, shout out Hockey Day in Canada, Hockey Rocks. It's the best. Shout out all the different teams I play on: Rink Rats, Zigzags, 1001 Club, Thursday mornings. Hockey is a massive, massive part of my life. Obviously, the game's done so much for me. I love it more than anything. I still love it every single night. And I love Hockey Day in Canada. I've been watching this stuff all day. It's the best. And we're doing a great job covering it. God love this country. God love Hockey Canada in this country. Hopefully we didn't Dave Cameron our Four Nations team, but I'm feeling rather passionate on Hockey Day in Canada. I love it.
All right. That's very well said. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall, from house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations, from your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
With the confidence and freedom of all-wheel drive, a turbocharged engine, and tons of cargo space, the 2025 Honda CR-V was made for winter adventures. But with heated front seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a cozy interior, you may want to stay in its comforts a little bit longer. Lease the CR-V LX all-wheel drive for $105 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,500 down. OAC conditions apply. Includes $1,500 lease bonus. See HondaOntario.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, for the best hockey talk.
On the iPhone, where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They can be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen in Austin. I said, you honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of, some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh, yeah.
But, and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about it earlier, if they're a -2 or -3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Saturday, January the 18th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. 12:30 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Devils on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 936, Flyers on Internet 940. 3 p.m., Ottawa Senators face the Boston Bruins. Senators on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 939, Bruins on Internet 921. 4 p.m., Colorado Avalanche take on the Dallas Stars. Avalanche on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 926, Stars on Internet 928. 6 p.m., Florida Panthers face the Anaheim Ducks. Panthers on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 931, Ducks on Internet 920. 7 p.m., Winnipeg Winnipeg Jets face the Calgary Flames. Jets on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 951. Flames on Internet 923. 7 p.m., New York Rangers take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Rangers on Sirius 210, XM 221 and Internet 938. Jackets on Internet 927. 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning face the Detroit Red Wings. Lightning on Sirius 161, XM 220 and Internet 945. Red Wings on Internet 929. 7 p.m., Washington Capitals face the Pittsburgh Penguins. Capitals on Sirius 211, XM 222 and Internet 950. Penguins on Internet 941. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m., New York Islanders take on the San Jose Sharks. Islanders on XM 223, Internet 937, Sharks on Internet 942. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators face the Minnesota Wild. Preds on XM 202, Internet 935, Wild on Internet 933. 8 p.m., Chicago Blackhawks take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Blackhawks on XM 201, Internet 925, Knights on Internet 949. 9 p.m., Utah Hockey Club takes on the St. Louis Blues. Utah on Sirius 208, XM 219 and Internet 947. Blues on Internet 944. 10 p.m. Vancouver Canucks take on the Edmonton Oilers. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 948. Oilers on Internet 930.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to share what it was like to play in the 1994 finals with the New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run. So take us back to ending the 54-year drought. In Game 7, you get a power play goal. You shovel a puck underneath of Kirk McLean. Stands up as the game winner, as it turns out. So take us back to that hot, steamy night. What was it, June 14th of 1994 at the Garden in New York?
Just, I guess just starting, going to the rink, trying to keep your same routine. Brian Leach and I would always drive together down through Times Square, down Broadway 7th Avenue to take a right-hand turn on 33rd Street. And you could feel things were different, even from the Upper West Side. Just the vibe and the energy of the whole city was just electrified. Getting down towards Madison Square Garden, seeing the crowd already starting to build, the police officers surrounding the Garden. It was a carnival-like atmosphere. Obviously, we knew we were something on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in 54 years. The magnitude of it was palpable. I mean, the energy, just everything just seemed to be so electrified. You try to keep yourself in the moment. You try to stay with your routine. Obviously, there's a much more at stake. And then, we found ourselves much like we did in 87, up 3-1 in the series, losing to the fifth game, where it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that New York Rangers were finally going to win a Stanley Cup after 54 years. Only to find ourselves the party atmosphere got a little bit delayed and then had to go back to Vancouver, which again, we got trounced in Vancouver, just like we did in 87. And now we're coming home for Game 7. And the same thing happened. It just, we felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leach and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves and Mike Richter and net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and Steve Larmer and Noonan and Mateau and Jeff Bukaboom and Jay Wells and all the amazing players that banded together that year to create maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there, and that that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's Sirius